everybody. It is Downloads Are Forever, or whatever title we decide to call it this week, because, well, if you've been listening, it's been technically 3 different titles. It was, For Your Ears Only, a James Bond cast, and it was temporarily 007, a James Bond cast, while I tried to figure out a new title. And thankfully, our friend Jeannie, she offered up Downloads Are Forever, so that's what it is for the moment. We're going through all the Bond movies. I decided to compress it a little bit because it turns out we don't have a whole lot of time to get these in before the Kaiju podcast that we want to do. You know, Godzilla's coming out, I believe, in March. So instead of 2 episodes about Roger Moore, John and I are going to be doing... Say hello, John. Sorry, I'm not even letting him talk.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
We're going to condense all the Roger Moores, which is for the best because as a chunk I am miserable as hell. This is my Bond, though. This is the one that I grew up on.
I will say this at the start, and this is, I think, will be controversial for some people. This era blows. Like, there are 2 really good films in here. And then there are okay films, and then there is utter trash.
Oh, fuck. Towards the end, man. Oh, my God. I can't believe they didn't pull the trigger and just get rid of them towards the end. All right, so we just came off of Diamonds Are Forever, which is a confusing mess, but it was nice to see Connery back, and it kind of has a goofball charm to it. Now we're starting over fresh. We got Roger Moore coming off of The Saint, older than most of the Bonds, which will be a problem a decade from now. I feel that there's a goofier quality to his era, not so sinister and sleek murderer.
Yeah, this is definitely the... I don't want to say family-friendly Bond, but this is the one where there's a lot more humor. There's a lot more, in a way, with the exception of the last one of his thing. I don't think these are as violent in a sense.
No, this is the closest it gets to being a comic book, basically.
Yeah, and I can respect that in one way. But I think as we go through this, I think you might get to where I've came to that conclusion. My controversial.
All right. So I really enjoyed the first 2 Bond movies I ever saw were these 2 that Roger Moore starred in, Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun. And so they're near and dear to me just because I'm so used to them. I know that they're not critically well loved, but I think they're very sleek, very lean, just cuts to the quick, whereas it got really excessive, and God, these movies got really long in the 80s. But it nearly killed the franchise. Yeah. They really did nearly kill the franchise because it didn't separate itself far enough from the pack. You know, action movies were starting to up their quality, and, Bond was no longer, first in its class. It had some competition, and I think maybe that's why it was falling apart a little bit for a little while. Those first 2 movies, didn't do very well.
Well, these films definitely, they're reactionary to kind of how in our last episode we were talking about films that you were inspired by Bond and were their own, not necessarily their own things, but some of them were their own things. A lot of these films are inspired by other movies and popular trends. Like Live and Let Die is very much a blaxploitation film. Very much. But with Bond.
Right. Trying to think.
Moonraker, when we get to that, is Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the... Oof. All right, so it seems like a lot of these start off with another 007 being killed or somebody that's close to Bond being killed, and that's how he starts off on his mission. And not even really driven by, his government mission. It's more personal, a lot of these, during the Roger Moore era, it seems.
Well, it's like, with this one in particular, Live and Let Die, there's a lot of really good stuff in this film that it's just... For me, it falls apart in his last third. So the
gadget of him blowing up is the most ridiculous thing in the entire series.
Oh, well, no, it's not even just him blowing up Yaphet Kotto. It's the Louisiana sheriff.
Oh my God, I forgot. Yeah, how could I forget that? That's the most ridiculous moment. Totally ridiculous.
And the entire film is fine. I love this film until you get to that point. And then the film just completely nosedives for me, where I'm just going, Because, I mean, if Yaphet Kotto's amazing. Jeffrey Holden as Baron Samedi is fantastic. My God, I want another film just with that character. I just want to see him. He has presence. He's amazing.
Yeah. You know what's funny is, for the most part, I only knew Jeffrey Holder from those. I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Pepper, or maybe it was 7-Up. It was the Young Cola. Oh yeah, so that's 7-Ups. The Young Cola.
Yeah, and it's just, the man is, I think I just said it already, but the man is presence. He is just, you can't not watch him. And that little tease at the end of the film where he's on the train, just laughing his ass off, and it's like, sequel, put him in on the next one.
Yeah.
I don't need Jaws, I need him.
I think the appeal of New Orleans, because they're always trying to find new exotic locations, and sometimes they don't really do a good job of capitalizing on what it has to offer. Like, I think they failed horribly in You Only Live Twice by showing us China. I just thought it looked so dull and flat, and they didn't really get into the culture as well as I thought they would. And I think they do an excellent job in Live and Let Die, like really presenting like the oddball corners of New Orleans. Yeah,
because you kind of get the kind of Mardi Gras-esque stuff, and then you also have just that the voodoo culture that's down there, and just kind of it feels much more alive than many of these other locations. Mm-hmm. Even now, even in some of the more recent films, you don't get as much life in some of these locations as you do in Live and Let Die.
Yeah, and like you said, Yaphet Kotto is one of the best villains, I think, in the entire series. That's the other thing about Man with the Golden Gun, is they're excellent villains. You remember them more for that than the actual plot. Who is the Bond girl in this one? Is this the one with Jane Seymour?
Yes.
Yeah, so she was a really good Bond girl. Sadly, I don't know why I lost which movie she was in. I thought she was in the next one, but I'm wrong about that. That's Britt Eklund. And it also has an extremely memorable theme song sung by Paul McCartney and Wings. So some of these are more Broadway style, whereas Live and Let Die was like, yeah, this is about now. This is a rock and roll song. This is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm not a particularly big fan of Wings, and I'll say this, I don't like this song, but this song is, I don't want to say is one of the most Bondish songs, but it's one of the songs that lives outside of Bond.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Rose's cover and all that, but I mean, this song, I've heard this song maybe over this last weekend like 3 times on the radio.
Yeah, the one thing that always bugs me about Wings is that you think you're getting one song and it keeps changing and changing. One of their biggest ones, God, it was like, not Band on the Run, it was like Jet. I thought the Major was a lady, but they keep repeating it over and over. I was like, first off, the whole subject matter is stupid, and you just keep repeating it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I could wade into another controversial topic, but this is a Bond cast and not a music cast.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're going to get to a music cast. I was just talking to someone about that. That's not the point of this. Okay, so I say thumbs up to this one, even though you're right. When he get like he's got that big piece of chaw in his mouth, and it derails right there.
Yeah, I'll say, great performances aside, I do kind of feel, and a lot of stuff, it's like, I'll give it a thumbs up, but it's a teetering one almost, because it's like, it doesn't stick the landing.
Yeah, I thought the gadgets were good.
There were a couple, there's one of the best things in this film was that speedboat race. Mm-hmm. Until of course you cut to the sheriff. But that actually had a Guinness Book of World Records.
I almost wonder if someone saw this movie and said, hey, we can make that the whole movie, and that turned into Smokey and the Bandit.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Second one, Man with the Golden Gun. Extremely memorable villain, great setting. Her Vilchez was a lot of fun. And this one with Maude Adams, I'm pretty sure Britt Eklund's in this one. She's the one from Wicker Man. I know people don't like it. They say it's one of the worst Bonds, and I'm like thoroughly entertained the whole way. It's one of my favorites.
Well, it's another film where it's got some of the best, you got Christopher Lee, so you got this great villain, but the story is just boring. The problem is it's like there's so much, I kind of wish that it was the test of skill between Bond and Scaramanga as opposed to Scaramanga is just kind of doing things and Bond is kind of being reactionary to his plot, not them going head to head until obviously the end of the film.
Right, and it's basically the most dangerous game, just a really elaborate version of the most dangerous game. Yet they give no credit, but it's clearly that plot is lifted at the end.
Oh, definitely.
Trying to remember. I remember he had that giant cannon. I always thought it was ridiculous when you see old laser blasts, and just I was like, oh, that's just like the most poorly drawn blast. But that's all the technology they had back then. They didn't have any layers they could add until Star Wars a few years later.
Yeah, but then again, that's also a little more accurate to the science of it. Necessarily, unless you're putting like gems into it to actually show you a laser. Mm-hmm. It's just light, just concentrated light.
That's true.
Now, one thing I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a couple. I have a couple of notes for all these films.
Yeah, go ahead.
But this one in particular, I do have a couple of things that I found very interesting, because in the middle of the film where we have the car chase where they do the corkscrew stunt and that slide whistle happens I went, what the fuck? I was pissed off when that happened. Just by going, you do not do that to me.
Slide whistle. Why don't I remember the slide whistle? Was it, in the soundtrack? In the soundtrack. Not, it wasn't a plot device. Okay, gotcha.
It's actually in the score itself.
Yeah, I remember that now.
As the car drives, all of a sudden, slide whistle. And the director apologizes for that constantly. He is so sorry that he did that.
God, I saw that in Halloween 5. For some fucking reason. Have you seen Halloween 5, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Okay. There's two doofus sheriffs that show up, and they literally play a little sliding flute, and takes you completely out of the movie. You forget it's even a horror movie. You expect Burt Reynolds to come around the corner pulling off the Mike Myers mask. Nah. If anybody, you seen that Jamie Lee Curtis?
Okay, but this was also going to be the last Bond film.
What? Why?
Because it did okay, but not well enough. And then there were so many issues regarding Spy Who Loved Me that basically this one almost tanked the franchise.
It's funny is that not a lot of people remember that there was a 3-year gap, whereas there was only a 1-year gap between Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun. Literally, just 16 months. One was summer, one was Christmas, and then all of a sudden you have to wait 3 years. And I remember reading into this. They were like, do we just keep making the movies but with a lower budget? Just to milk it for all it's worth, like they did with almost every franchise back then. Look at all the classic ones, especially Planet of the Apes. The budget got tighter and tighter and tighter as the series would go on, and it would bring in less revenue. But they decided to go in the opposite direction. Yeah. They did what was it, the Fast and Furious franchise? Because, they could have milked that for a little while longer, turned into a direct-to-video series. We'd be on Fast and Furious 18 with Victor Webster or something, and Michael Madsen. But they said, look, let's spend some more money. Let's crank the budget up. Let's bring the stars back. And that's kind of what they did with The Spy Who Loved Me, is they went from a $10 million budget to a $20 million budget and really brought in a spectacle. But that's not the reason the movie's great. The movie's great because they really pinned down Roger Moore's version of that character. Sadly, that would last for one damn movie, and it's really entertaining.
And this is where I start to apologize to everyone who started listening to the podcast, and I said the Russians really weren't a part of the franchise, because I think I only maybe 3 or 4 films total that they were in. Mm-hmm. Except for the fact that Walter Gotell's character, General Golgo, who shows up in Spy Who Loved Me and goes all the way through all of Roger Moore's films and the first of Dalton's.
Right, he's the old bald guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Our good old, kind of nice, not a great, heroic character, but at the worst, he kind of seems like a, smile and a wink.
Fun rivalry. It's a Glasnost with a
yeah.
little bit of rivalry.
Yeah, we don't hate him, even though he is a villain in maybe, I think, two of these? Or at least villain-ish?
Yeah. And he softens. By the time you get to the end of Roger Moore's run, he softens quite a bit.
That was also, actually, not with View, but the one prior to it, kind of surprised me is, that was very much Russians are the bad guys, except Russians are not the bad guys.
Yeah, well, that's the head scratcher of all of them. Octopussy's so odd.
Yeah.
Spy Who Loved Me. That's Carly Simon does this theme song, which was a huge hit outside of the movies too. So there's like maybe a handful that were just massive successful, and if you didn't know, you wouldn't know they were from a Bond movie. They don't feel like a Bond song.
Yeah, nobody does it better. Not as much like some of these other ones where you get the title in the song.
Right.
Well, actually, I think this one does have the title in the song, but it's not
it does,
as obvious as...
Yeah, it's not part of the main chorus. It comes in, like, towards the end of the song, I think. And I remember this song, I used to have a baseball tape about bloopers and little, like, crazy stories in baseball called Funny Side Up, where they played this while they're doing these amazing plays. And I didn't know it was from Bond for a while. I was like, I'll hold on a second. Great Gadget is the underwater car.
Yep.
We have Richard Kiel as Jaws, and I heard he's the nicest man.
I've heard that too. He seems like it really does seem like this, and especially in Moonraker, he is having a blast.
Yeah.
Even though apparently those grills in his mouth were excruciating.
Oh, they probably were. It's funny is he was also probably grateful that he was in a big budget movie because if you look at his filmography or anything that played on Mystery Science Theater, he would pop up on a regular basis. It was almost always very low grade movies, and we're talking like probably under $250,000 budget kind of movies. EGA, anybody? Have you seen EGA?
I have not.
Oh,
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, he's a caveman they find out in the desert when they're doing some dune buggy. I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember he was just like just this rotten caveman that wanders around this suburban neighborhood and causing chaos. Kind of like a Frankenstein character. He's not really evil. It's just people misunderstand him. Human Duplicators, I remember he was in. He's in some rip-off Star Wars Italian flick with Carolyn Monroe. I think it was Carolyn Monroe or Barbara Bach. Barbara Bach. Yeah, for the most part, it was just the two Bond movies and the cameo in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Cannonball Run! How did
kinda...
I forget that?
Oh, yeah, you're right. He's in Cannonball Run.
The juxtaposition of him with Jackie Chan was always fun.
But this is one where I had a weird note. Kurt Jürgens, Karl Stromberg has his little, base.
Uh-huh.
And I just look at it and I just think, it's the Legion of Doom headquarters.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, Justice League of America. I'm almost certain. Or no, Super Friends.
Super Friends, yeah.
Is this the first of the franchise to go to the Middle East?
Yes, it is.
It's such
also all that, like the big light show that they have at the pyramids.
Yeah.
At least according to what I read, and I don't know how recent that was put, but apparently that they still do that. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
it
seemed like the late 70s, early 80s was crazy about the Middle East. Like, it seemed like every action adventure movie was set there. Like, we're talking like Jewel of the Nile, Indiana Jones, of course, Iron Eagle. Basically, any sort of treasure hunting movie seemed to be set in the Middle East. And you don't see movies about that now unless it's about terrorists. But back then, it was like this wild, exotic location. And just people really hadn't seen anything like that before. So I give credit to that movie for really bringing it to the mainstream.
Yeah. And this film has the best opening, at least at this point and through Roger Moore's films. This is the best opening of any Bond film.
Yeah,
that skiing stunt.
Right, but they try to repeat it later in View to a Kill, and it doesn't work anywhere nearly as well.
Oh no!
I think it's funny.
The gun barrel sequence that they did for this one. It gets reused in all the other subsequent Roger Moore films.
Okay. You know what's weird is it took me decades to realize that he was facing down someone else with a gun pointed at them, and they shot them, and that they were dying. I mean, I didn't know this until about 10 years ago. I don't know why I never picked up on that.
It's weird because it doesn't track the first couple of times you see it. Just kind of like a weird, just weird framing.
Uh-huh.
And then as you get older, you start catching on to what it is. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing.
I know we talked about this before, but when did he ditch the hat?
Oh, that was a while ago.
Okay, so it was Lazenby, right, that ditched the hat?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Just checking, because I feel like, I thought it was after just the third movie was when he ditched it, but he's told me it went longer than that. So most of Connors runs the hat. And that's kind of an old school version of, dapper, debonair killer. But I was thinking, like, it seems like all those movies during this era was about, they always see, like, the skiing, like, ew, the super rich, they're all skiing. And that's why they made, like, Hot Dog the movie and Ski School is about, like, basically Caddyshack of skiing. Like, we're not rich, we're not super stuck up, but we love skiing too. And then the 90s were like, screw your skiing, man, we got snowboarding. Awesome.
Well, we've already mentioned View to the Kills opening anyway, so that's the where snowboarding started to become a thing. So they immediately jumped on it, and you had that, which the snowboarding stuff is really good. All the stunts there, it's just they throw Beach Boys over it.
Yeah, that was weird. That's totally out of...
And you want to punch whoever did that.
Right. But I just keep thinking about the fact that Triple X was trying to prove that they were like, yeah, man, Bond is stuffy and old school, blah, to that, man. We're going to snowboard, but we're going to snowboard on, like, dining trays. Dinner trays, I mean.
Oh, you said Triple X. I was thinking of our agent, Triple X.
Yeah.
From this one.
Triple X, let's talk about this real quick, which is supposed to be the modern-day remedy to all the Bond movies. And it's weird that the series started off god-awful, piece of crap, and it somehow got better as it went along. I just flabbergasted. They make less money.
I didn't see the other two. I should say, when I saw it, I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun on a dumb sort of way.
Yeah, it just feels like rap metal. It just feels like the worst. We're not even talking like Limp Bizkit. We're talking like fucking... not Limp Bizkit.
Mushroom Head?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. It's like the Insane Clown Posse version. I can't stand it. But the second and third one, I'm shocked that they were completely ignored since the first one was so huge. I like Ice Cube as a spy. I thought it was a good idea. The action sequence at the end with him and William Dafoe is fucking awesome. And the third one says, hey, look, we got Vin Diesel. Nobody likes Vin Diesel. They like the people around Vin Diesel. So what do? They hire this cast with like Donnie Yen and that girl from Vampire Diaries and other people, and they're really good. It's a fun movie.
Well, I'll give that one a try since
it's from
what the heck.
It's from the director of Eagle Eye and Disturbia.
Okay.
And apparently he was supposed to direct G.I. Joe 3 with that script, and then they said, well, we're not going to get this going because Dwayne Johnson won't sign the contract and lock down to it, so they rewrote the G.I. Joe script and then just modified it over to Triple X.
Maybe that's why it's a better movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan anyway, so I kind of feel it's like, oh yeah, Donnie Yen, he's totally supposed to be Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow.
With in Spy Who Loved Me, that scene where you have Barbara Bach trying to drive stick, trying to escape from Jaws, and she just keeps messing up. That wasn't scripted. She can't drive stick or couldn't drive stick. So all of Roger Moore's responses are all ad libs.
Nice.
He's just making fun of her. She's obviously getting pissed off.
So the next one I think was a huge failure, at least when it comes to a quality script. It has the spectacle you're looking for, huge special effects, big ideas. I think it was the most successful Bond at that time. But it's just like candy, man. It's just like, oh yeah, that's fun for the moment, man. I don't feel good afterwards.
Yeah, in watching this one, and I saw you had a little post about it. My notes end fairly quickly with, wow, this movie sucks.
No, wait, I don't remember. Did I post about this? I remember posting about Star Trek The Motion Picture recently. Okay.
No, you posted because you said like this is the lowest point of the franchise.
Oh,
I think.
God. No, it got lower.
Something to that
It got
effect.
lower after I said this. Really did. It got worse. Okay, I watched this 3 months ago. So what is Moonraker about again?
He has to stop Hugo Drax from trying to wipe out the human race and replace them with his own master race.
Right, I totally forgot
And
about
I
that.
forget. I can't really remember what the hell he's doing. I just know that they have the space station, and it's really bad.
You know, Kingsman does that same plot way better.
Oh, yes.
The one thing I do remember, though, I did like was when Bond is talking to Jaws and his girlfriend, his goofy little girlfriend with the pigtails and glasses, and he's like, look, he's trying to build the perfect race. Do you really think he's going to bring you along? He hates people like you. And then Jaws flips on a dime and becomes a hero, and that was kind of a cute moment. I know it's a family. That's when it became a family film. This is when it became Star Wars, but even more kiddie.
Yeah. No, there's a couple of really one. This is Bernard Lee's last appearance as M. Because he ended up dying before For Your Eyes Only. But one thing I found interesting about this was not only was the theme song, but also the role of Drax. It was offered to Frank Sinatra.
No. What?
Apparently, and also Johnny Mathis also. But I'm sitting there thinking about this, going, Sinatra. The theme could be hit or miss. I mean, he's a hell of a crooner, but that thing could have definitely been a hit or miss song. But
here's the thing: it's like Dean Martin. Both have the talent to be great actors, but they're always so effing busy that they phone their way through movies most of the time. They're like, I don't have time for the script even, let alone rehearsals and really digging into my character, especially during the 70s. I mean, it was really bad for both of them. They were just bare bones. Just I'm here just to shoot this. I think Frank Sinatra has stopped acting for quite some time if this was offered to him. He hadn't done a movie in like 6 years. I think his last one was Dirty Dingus McGee, one of my favorite movie titles. I've never seen it, but God, I love that name.
But yeah, I read that and just went, that would have been very interesting. I don't think it would have made the film any better.
Yeah. Oh, if he could have seen the theme song, oh my God.
But I think it would be a much more memorable film than kind of just how much no one really likes, or very few people. Let's be honest, there's got to be fans for this film.
Well, I remember Hugo Drax was a pretty memorable villain, which I think it's funny that he's trying to build the perfect race, but he looked like a meatball. Which I also think of Hitler. Hitler was not a good-looking man. He was not the perfect race, yet he was trying to build it was so strange.
But and it's very his master race is also very Aryan.
Yeah, well, I guess that's not a surprise. It looks like that's what's happening right now with the current Hugo Drax wannabe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep. Oh, we got political again. Oh well. At this point, it doesn't matter. All right, so the series tries to save itself with For Your Eyes Only. I think it decided that it was getting too excessive, too big. It decides to go back to more of what the novels are. So they trim it back, I think, to like a $15, $20 million budget, makes it lean and mean, gives a really good heroine, gives... the problem with the plot is that I can never remember it. It's so basic, I feel. The best thing I know about the song is the song, and the fact that they had the girl from Ice Castles in it.
Yeah, it's not much of a plot. It's essentially Bond has to locate the ATAC, a missile command system, for their missile command system before the Russians do.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And then Carol Bouquet's there for revenge for her family, and that's it's pretty. It feels like more of a Charles Bronson movie than anything else.
Yeah. Although I will say, it's that opening where you have not Blofeld, character in a wheelchair, who gets dumped down a smokestack. I could have sworn that opening happened. Like, I could have sworn it was right after On Her Majesty's Secret Service that the next film opens with that.
Is this the one with the rock repelling? For some reason. Is this the one with the rock repelling sequence where they're fighting on the rock? I feel like this is the one where they're on the rocks, they're climbing up, where they have a fight sequence there. Am I wrong?
No. This is the one that has that.
Okay, sorry. We watched so many of them in a row, and I just kind of blurred them all together.
Yeah. This has to be that one. Because
Silence.
Shit, I don't know.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sitting going through my notes. And
Well, I started thinking about the action sequence. I'm like, no, that's from Vertical Limit. Well, no, that's from Cliffhanger. What the? I know there's a fucking sequence in this where they're
Yeah.
All right, so this is the one that I remember.
Yeah,
I cannot remember hardly a thing from this movie, even though I know it's better than the last couple.
Yeah, this has to be the one because it's also the one with what's her name, Lynn Holly Johnson, who plays Baby Doll.
Yeah, it's so wrong. No, this is bad.
Yeah, trying to throw herself at him,
Ugh,
and
she's like 12 and he's 80.
Pretty much, yeah. You feel gross about it, and so did Moore.
Yeah, it feels like a reverse Harold and Maude, and it just doesn't work.
Oh, the stunt double, Lyle, I can't think of her name. How to say her name? The
Lynn Holly Johnson.
The villain's no. The girl who plays.
Oh, I'm pretty sure
I
want to say it's Carol Bouquet. Carol Bouquet.
Yeah, she her stunt double when her character gets hit by the dune buggy. Because if you see that stunt, it looks really bad. I mean, stunt actors are very good at taking these kind of hits, but when you watch this thing, she hits the windshield hard, and you just kind of you feel that impact. And yeah, she got hurt.
Yeah, when you see stunts go wrong, it's so unbelievably painful. I was watching something. I want to say it was called Deadbeat by Dawn. I'm not sure, but it's like they're in this DMZ zone and they got to evacuate before the gangs take over. You know, at night they're allowed to roam free, and somebody doesn't get out in time. There's a guy in the back of a truck and he's chasing him down, and the guy is supposed to jump off the truck after getting shot. And you can see he's going for the jump, and he changes his mind halfway through for some fucking reason, and he lands on the back of his neck instead of his side. And I'm pretty sure that guy's got to be crippled by now. And that is so unbelievably painful.
This film did save United Artists from financial ruin.
Oh, because Heaven's Gate was the one that beat them up.
Yeah, they had Heaven's Gate, and this made them all the money.
Yeah, well, I thought Heaven's Gate destroyed the studio. For the longest time, I thought that was the end of United Artists. And I didn't know that when Ted Turner bought MGM, he couldn't have the Bond movies because they were technically part of United Artists, and they were just distributing through MGM. And then it wasn't until the 90s is when they formed all that together.
Yeah, and with this one, they weren't sure if they were going to get more back. So they had a short list of potential Bonds, which included James Brolin, Lambert Wilson, and Timothy Dalton.
Lambert Wilson, you mean from The Matrix?
No.
Lambert Wilson, I could have swore he's one of the guys that explains one of those long-winded what the fuck are they talking about speeches in the Matrix Reloaded. I'm looking this up right now. Lambert Wilson.
He was the mayor. Yeah. Well, let me say this. As you're looking that up, I was thinking about this because I know I've mentioned in podcasts past how many times Burt Reynolds' name seemed to pop up.
Uh-huh.
And I was surprised in that list because, no Burt Reynolds?
Really? Yeah, Lambert Wilson is in The Matrix Reloaded. He's the one that goes on some long-winded speech with Monica Bellucci. But every time I think...
Okay.
James Brolin, I mean, he's the only American actor to get that close, I think, to getting it. And I just keep thinking of Pee-wee's Big Adventure at the end when he's playing like a James Bond version of Pee-wee. And just, "Baiting Mr. Urban. Baiting Mr. Urban." Just looking at the camera the entire time, and he's like, "Daddy, I have to go out on a mission." She's like, "Let me go with you." "Daddy, I'm a loner." Just like, what? Because Pee-wee says that in the movie, right? He goes, "I don't got time for that, Daddy. I'm a loner. A rebel."
And I need to get around to doing this. Blondie were asked to do a title song for this film, and it didn't make the cut. But you can hear it off their album, The Hunter.
No kidding. What was the song?
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's For Your Eyes Only.
Oh.
Same thing with Alice Cooper. He did one
What?
for, I think it was Man with the Golden Gun.
Son of a bitch,
Man
that's
with the
awesome.
Golden Gun.
Is it out? Can you listen to that?
And that one is, Muscle of Love.
Oh, okay.
I need to do this. I mean, we both talked about having to hear that Johnny Cash, if it's released, the Johnny Cash alternate Bond theme. And I still haven't even looked that up. I'm being very bad about this.
I really like Sheena Easton's version of this. I never even really listened to Sheena Easton, but I popped on a song because it was in my '80s mix of her called Strut. And at first you think it's like one of these like she's strut because she's proud, and then you start listening to the lyrics a little bit closer, and you're like, oh holy shit, this is a Me Too song 35 years ago. It's about a girl who just wants to walk to work, who wants to go about her life, wherever she wants to go, without having men catcall her and telling her to strut and look pretty for them.
Well, that's a lot of 80s music is they sound all poppy and happy, and then you look at the lyrics and you just go, oh my god, this is dark. What is wrong with you people?
Well, I mean, to be fair, you look back at a lot of 80s movies and you're like, oh, that's homophobic. Oh, that's sexist. Oh, that's racist. Oh, dear God.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more. We definitely listen and watch things with a lot more depth these days.
It's really hard to get. I'm watching all the seasons of Saturday Night Live because we're going to do a sketch comedy podcast next year. And I'm like, man, they're doing yellowface. Oh, doing blackface. Oh, God, that's a lot of homophobia. You know, and it's Dennis Miller. I mean, are we any surprised by his behavior now, considering how sexist some of his stuff was? His comments on Saturday Night Live are so terrible at times.
Well, I'll say this. I do like the white face that Eddie Murphy does in one of the sketches.
Yeah, because that had a real point
somewhere
to
in the
it,
90s.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, that was...
I'm also losing my voice. All right, so let's get to the last two. Octopussy. You've seen it maybe 20 times. This is one of the VHS tape movies that we had when I was a kid. Like, we taped them off ABC. This was an event on ABC for years. On Sunday nights, they would air all the Bond movies, because another one was coming out. And because back then, it was every 2 years you would get a Bond movie. Sometimes, in the case of 1983, we got 2 Bond movies, and so they would just air them all the time. But Octopussy's one that I saw so many times, I haven't got the faintest fucking clue what it's about. I just remember clowns and Maud Adams returning. Maud Adams again. I'm like, wait, hold on. Did they reboot the universe? No, hold on a second. You can't be the same.
But yeah, for the plot, this is while investigating a smuggling operation, Bond uncovers a plot by a rogue, because at this point we've had the Russians as villains, but now we have a rogue Russian general who's going to bomb an American air base in West Germany in order to kickstart the Russian expansion into the West.
Yeah, Louis Jordan, who was way better in this kind of performance in Swamp Thing because that kind of campy behavior was accepted. It doesn't work as well in Octopussy, and it's weird because, like I said, it's a comic book franchise of sorts. And yet, for some reason, I was just like, oh, God, he's chewing the scenery here. Oh, boy.
Yeah, and, well, it's also, there is, like, they go to India. There's some interesting stuff there where you got, it's like, what's his name? His little friend, VJ, who, he's like, I'm the agent station. Who am going to help you out? Apparently, that guy was a pro tennis player.
What?
So, and he was trying to transition into films. That's why there's a lot of weird tennis jokes around him.
Okay.
That's and like and while they're driving around, he's smacking people with the tennis racket and stuff.
That never works. It never works when you do that because
joke.
I'm just keeping like they did that with Pele. They did it with Dennis Rodman. He Double Team, another Bond-inspired film. Jean-Claude Van Damme was a massive Bond fan. He always wanted to play a spy, so they offer him this incredibly stupid fucking script called Double Team. In fact, I'm guaranteeing it wasn't called Double Team at the time. And then they add Dennis Rodman. And then, so this character's not even a basketball player, but all they do is give him a basketball player jokes. And it doesn't make sense in that context. And that's also, it's like tennis jokes. Like, why? He wasn't a tennis player.
Yeah, and like that the little action sequence I'm talking about where they're going through the marketplace and all that stuff. That is an amazing, amazing little action sequence. Except they have all these jokes in there. You're cutting away to stuff, and there's, the bed of needles, thing, and it's like just staring at it and going.
Oh yeah, that was stupid. Why is he laying in the middle of the road? Why was he in the middle of the road doing this while they're chasing each other around? Who does that? Who lays their bed? And by the way, I didn't know that's what it did. It actually punctures your skin. That's fucking gross.
Well, if you're doing it right, it's so evenly distributed, you're not going to get punctured. But if you do it wrong, yeah, you get stabbed.
Ugh. I remember that was a joke in Police Academy that they had him lay down on one of those, and he's like, "Oh God, what is that?" And they pulled the bed sheet back, and it's all needles. And I was like, at the time I didn't even know what it was. Like, I'm kidding. Why would you do this? Why would you stab yourself over and over? But it's supposed to relax muscles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Octopussy's also the last film to reveal the title of the next film.
Really? Oh, that's right, because at the end of the movie they always say James Bond will be back in whatever. And is it because they ran out of books? What is the last book? Is Living Daylight's the last one? Because I know Goldeneye was an unfinished story.
Well, it's like, I mean, they technically ran out of books a while ago, because I think Octopussy is it's a short story.
Okay.
Or it's parts of a short story or something like that. So technically they did run out of stories, or at least ones that they would have put in,
Right.
use as titles.
Yeah, this one.
But they also used... Yeah, they used the actual original book title, too, which was From A View to a Kill.
I don't even remember the song from this. Is the song called Octopussy? Who sings it? What is it?
It is called All Time High,
Oh!
and it is Rita
Okay. Okay, you know that I think that was a hit, too. I think that was on the radio when I was a kid, All Time High. Not very memorable, obviously, because I couldn't even tell you what the song was. The only thing I ever remember from this movie is the fact that it has the friggin' Fabergé eggs, and it has to do with the circus. That's it.
Yeah, and you have the creepy clowns, especially Roger Moore has like 5 minutes to stop the bomb from detonating, and he immediately basically goes into a trailer and then comes out dressed as a clown.
Yeah, this is a really low point. I don't... the last Roger Moore... Oh, I'm sorry, let's talk about the one that came out concurrently with Octopussy was Never Say Never Again. The rights got split up, and Sony was able to distribute Never Say Never Again at a much higher budget than normal for these Bond movies. I mean, because like I said, it dropped down for Your Eyes Only, and Sony was like, screw it, we're going to make it such a massive spectacle, they're going to come and watch our Bond movies. But it was a one-shot. They only owned the rights to one story, and Sean Connery wasn't going to continue.
Yeah, and there was a couple of things with this. Never Say Never Again, of course, is the result of that fight, of that rights fight. That's what delayed Spy Who Loved Me, was them kind of, bickering and dealing with that. At the end of the day, the Broccoli's won the rights to the Bond films, but they still lost Thunderball.
Right. They own the movie, but they didn't own the remake rights, I guess.
The story, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they could use Bond, they could use all these things, including Blofeld, but it was like, but you can't do, this, or this.
Right. I love the girls. Barbara Carrera is great and menacing in it. Kim Basinger, it's Kim Basinger. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Sean Connery's fun. It's the same script as Thunderball. It's just updated. So there's a lot of jokes about him aging. There's, instead of like, when they do the war games, it's like this laser arcade style game, stuff like that. So it's enjoyable, but there's nothing fresh about it.
Yeah. Well, there's some things I did appreciate. In the case of this, M really does not want to deal with Bond shit in this film.
Yeah, that's true.
He is just, I do not, it's like, Bond, just do what we want you to do. Don't screw around.
Yeah, and I thought Claus Maria Brandeur was a much better villain than the villain in Thunderball. I really liked him in this. Charming and menacing.
Yeah. I feel bad because Max von Sydow, who's playing Blofeld in this, does not really get that much to do. Like, I really wish he had more.
Well, look at his filmography during this time. He was cashing in on his fame. He did this in Conan, like 3 or 4 other movies where he would just show up for a couple of days and get paid a shit ton of money and then just go back to doing whatever it is he do, music or art or whatever. I mean, remember Judge Dredd? It was like a 2-day shoot, and I think they paid him $100,000 a day, which back then, that was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. And, again, this did go up against Octopussy. There was this whole Bond versus Bond showdown in the media, but Octopussy won.
Yeah.
Because that one actually made made money.
Yeah, but
This one did all right.
Yeah, but it cost so damn much.
Yeah. It also, Irving Kershner, in watching this is, and granted, I have not seen all of Kershner's films, but I think this is probably his weakest film, at least of the ones I've seen.
Well, no, I think RoboCop 2, I know people love RoboCop 2, but there's, no, you know what, no, at least he had a voice in that one. I don't know if it was Frank Miller's voice speaking through him, but at least it's trying to say something, even though it's kind of a sloppy film. You're right, I don't really know his work that well either, but maybe that's why George Lucas chose him, is because, like Richard Marquand after him, these guys are really good technically. They get called all the technical shots, but not so much focused on the acting and the emotion. I don't know. I don't really know the story about it. But you hear stories about that where directors are only hired to handle the technical stuff. Like with Rambo 2, Cobra, Tombstone, George Cosmatos was only hired because he was really good at handling the technical stuff, which Stallone and Kurt Russell had no patience for.
Yeah. Now, like in this one, because they got Connery back, he had a lot of creative control, and he essentially approved most of the casting in this film. Barbara Correa turned down the title role of Octopussy so she could work with Connery.
Wow. Did you know the story about Steven Seagal working as a technical advisor on this movie?
I did have I was going to write the note on that, and then I didn't. But yeah, it's like he does some of the martial arts choreography and stuff in this film.
He broke his fucking arm. He broke Sean Connery's arm. This is so ridiculous. I can't believe he got a career after that, because you would think that his fuck up would just blackball him forever.
Yeah. Oh, and this is the film that kickstarted the No Animals Were Harmed in the making of this film.
Really?
Because there's that stunt where they're having the horse jumping off a cliff.
Uh-huh.
And the horse got hurt.
Okay.
And, animal rights activists got really pissed off, and that basically caused enough controversy that now they have to put that in there as long as, no animals are harmed in the film.
Right, okay. Well, good for them, because that's what's needed, because no animal should be harmed for our entertainment. Only humans. And, all right, let's wrap this up. We got 10 minutes to discuss View to a Kill, my absolute favorite song. Favorite song. Everybody loved. They loved that song because they kept playing it throughout the movie instead of the regular James Bond theme.
It's like, I think this is the most amazing song. It's also one of the weakest. I hate the title sequence.
Oh,
just terrible black light. Just, oh god.
Some of them do seem really half-assed. I watched. There's a parody of this on Saturday Night Live at the time, and you can see that they were just making fun of the fact that James Bond by this point was just completely phoning it in. It was before Timothy Dalton had taken over, and they thought Roger Moore was going to come back for yet another one. And all it is Victoria Jackson in a black leotard with a backlight and just doing gymnastics moves, and that's it. It's so pathetic, but the joke is there. It's like, yeah, they gave up.
Yeah, this is very much like this film is garbage.
Oh, yeah.
But it does, again, you have Christopher Walken playing Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Because that's the thing. I love Christopher Walken as an actor. I love it when Christopher Walken actually plays a character. He's acting. He's amazing. But then I also love when he just plays Christopher Walken.
I think the only time I've ever seen him in his entire career, it's the only time I've ever seen him without his hair greased back or sticking straight up. Like, it's just normal human hair. Like, oh, you combed it. What the hell?
But this film is just all over the place. It just, Max Zorin is apparently the product of Nazi experimentation to be like some sort of weird super soldier trained by the Russians. And then it kind of has this Goldfinger thing where he's going to destroy Silicon Valley so he can make be the person who has he's in charge of the microchip trade. It's like,
I have a blimp.
And he's just, what the yeah, it's just like, what the shit is going on?
This is like all the ideas that were never good enough for the previous films and just mashed together. Come on, San Francisco. I love San Francisco too, but we're talking about the Bond franchise. There's nothing truly fascinating. That's not an exotic locale.
But there's, let's see, like, but this, yeah, as I said, this is also like Roger Moore hates this movie with a passion. Apparently, like. He was not on speaking terms with Grace Jones at any point.
She seems really off. Like just like something like I've been wanting to be around her for like more than a couple of minutes because it would just get so like bizarre and uncomfortable.
Oh, did you catch Dolph Lundgren?
No, I keep looking for him. Damn, I've seen this movie so many times. I keep looking for him. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, I missed him too. Yeah, he's just like he's there. I think in one of the Russian scenes. He's there just like off to the side.
Oh, okay.
Just doesn't say anything.
I asked Jacob about this because we did a Dolph Lundgren episode. And he goes, yeah, he fights James Bond. And I go, I don't think he fights James Bond. I don't think he's... And then we started talking about it, and then he was so far off. I was like, no, you're describing Tomorrow Never Dies, the big blonde guy in the ship, Jonathan Pryce's like right-hand man. That was like 12 years later. You're not even close. He's like, son of a bitch.
But let's see other things. Another interesting bit of casting, and I love the reason that I was turned down. David Bowie apparently was offered Zola, and he turned it down for Labyrinth, which was a good call.
But it also flops. But it's better remembered. See, that's the weird thing about history. A lot of these movies that we love now tanked, and a lot of the big movies no one gives a shit about.
Well, like his real reason that he stated later on for not wanting to do View to a Kill was the script sucked. He just sat there and went, this movie blows. What the heck? I don't want to be part of this.
Though I would give anything to see him in that blimp going, ground control to Mr. Bond.
Yes, that's another thing of casting where I go, I would love the alternate world where this happened, because I would love to see Bowie do this.
Everybody says that Tanya Roberts is the worst Bond girl, and I still give that to Denise Richards because she tried to convince us that she was a biochemist, and I'm like, no. But Tanya Roberts is not good, even though I like Tanya Roberts, but mostly because she's just hilarious on that 70s show.
Yeah, in the case of this, she's a prop more than an actual real character. She's just kind of there. But, this was that Russian agent, Paula Ivanova.
Yeah.
The girl who just kind of shows up at one point. That was actually supposed to be Anya from Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh,
but Barbara Rock did not want to come back.
Gotcha.
But
her career was doing
those lines make so much more sense if you go, oh yeah, that's supposed to be her.
Gotcha. Okay. This came out at the same time as another spy movie that was trying to compete, and Hamilton. Damn it. He directed a bunch of the Bond movies. Hamilton. He did Remo Williams. I hate looking stuff up because I feel like it's cheating. I want my brain to work, but I can't. I'm going to have to look this up. Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, was supposed to be competing with James Bond. It's supposed to be like, James Bond is old hat. We're taking over here. And I tell you what, Remo Williams is so much more memorable. I love that movie.
Yeah, this is when I was rewatching this film. I really did not remember anything other than the blimp.
Yeah.
Just nothing about this stuck. Oh, again, theme song is still sticks.
Yeah. Well, Duran Duran were red hot. I mean, I gotta tell you, for like 5 years there, they had like every hit song. And then after that, they just kind of faded. I don't know if they broke up or they were on hiatus.
Yeah, this was actually their last song.
Oh, okay. Because didn't they go, like, half of them went over to Power Station, and then half of them went over to some other band that sang Election Day, and then they just kind of floated around for a few years until they got back together in the 90s? Became a new age band.
Yeah, something like that.
Ugh.
But, yeah, this, like, the stuff with all the horses, I'm just sitting there going, God damn, this is going on so long.
Oh, God, it's so long. I kept looking at the clock and going, 2.5 hours. Fucking me up a river, man. It was Guy Hamilton. Now look at this. Okay, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. It gives you a sequence on the friggin' Statue of Liberty as it's being worked on, and it was for real. They just had to use a lot of wires to hold them, from dying or whatever. It's got Fred Ward's Fun and Lovable, Joel Grey, you whine like a mule. dodging bullets. It's so much fun, and it made $14 million. And View to a Kill is slop, and it made like $60 million.
Yeah, that. But we're getting to. I know. I don't want to say it's the least favorite Bond because that's usually Lazenby, but everyone's second least favorite Bond we got coming up. But as I recall, those two films are much better than at least the garbage of Roger Moore's run.
Right, and we'll discuss those next month. We're going to add those to the Bronson movie. Charles Bronson is James Bond. I'm going to kill you, punk. I like chicken, punk. I don't think he ever even said punk. I think I just made that a Dirty Harry Paul Kersey cover.
You're blending Dirty Harry in.
I did. Timothy Dalton, they took it back to the roots of the book again, and people hated it. Maybe they were just sick of Bond. Maybe it wasn't the fact that, because the spectacle of the Roger Moore years is ridiculous. And they say that's terrible, but then they say Timothy Dalton. It's like, it's too mainstream. It's just like a revenge film, And I'm like, no, these are good flicks. So we're going to discuss more of those on the next episode. It's going to be a little gap because, the holidays and we both work heavily. So January is when we'll discuss that. We'll do the Dalton and Brosnan movies at the same time. And then I don't know whether to do the Daniel Craig episode now or wait closer to the time of that release. I'm not sure because I kind of want to talk about that last movie. Is it his last movie, or are they going to offer him $50 million for the next one? Good God, those paychecks are huge.
Yeah, it sounds like he's coming back, but then again, he's also said that it's like he'd rather kill himself, or he had more colorful phrasing of that, but he'd rather kill himself than play Bond again.
And like his career is so busy.
But he's a great motivator, I guess.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, just replace him if he's that miserable. Is it filming? Because I feel like the director dropped out. Danny Boyle dropped out, and they didn't find a replacement yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that film as of late. So
yeah, there's no way they're going to have it out by Christmas then, man. They're going to have to rush that production. That's never a good idea.
Yeah, I would at best bet you're looking at 2020.
Ugh, okay, so never mind. We'll just do the 4 Daniel Craig movies because I don't want to wait 2 years to finish the show.
We'll do the special when it comes out. We'll have a special episode.
Yeah, so the show that we're doing after that, before Godzilla starts, is we're going to do 2 or 3. No, it's got to be more than that. We're going to do the Star Trek films, so it's got to be at least 2 for the original cast, 2 for the Next Generation, and 1 for.
And then
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We can't go on forever with that because we got to fit it in before March. But yeah, that's the next thing. We're going to do the Star Trek movies, and then we're going to do some kaiju. Not all the kaiju because that would take 5 years, and I just don't have that kind of attention span. We'll do some, and then if it's a huge hit, we'll come back and do some more. But that's it for us.
It's like they get redundant, but there's so many good ones that we have to talk about.
And I keep pestering him to do more comic book episodes with me, so I'm just keeping this guy busy. And it's not even his only show. He shows up on What Did We Just Watch on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I'm even looking into possibly starting something on my own.
Oh, nice.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Sometime next year, we'll let. Yeah.
Maybe you should do the music one.
It's up your. That has actually been one thought of mine, not the one I've been thinking. Like I said, we'll talk about off air, and then when that gets closer to things, we'll mention it to the next people.
Well, check us out on Facebook under Retro Rock Entertainment. You'll find all our episodes there, and I just sound like a radio announcer. It's 72 degrees, and the traffic outside is that's a helicopter sound, and Hey everybody, it is Downloads Are Forever, the James Bond cast. Our, I think, 6-part. It was going to be 8-part, but we edited it down a little bit. View at the James Bond franchise, and I'm your host, Michael. My co-creator, sidekick, partner in crime, John's on the other side.
How's it going, everybody?
All right. So it has been a little bit of a break between episodes. Christmas, hey, it was bonkers. And that's what decided, hey, let's compress the Timothy Dalton and Brosnan down into one episode. We'll do one more with the Daniel Craig 4 films that have been, going so far. Has the 5th one even started yet? I feel like they bailed.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
As far as I know, they're not going anywhere with them at the moment.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, by the time they get around to it, they probably will cast somebody else. I mean, I think they're paying him like $25 million, which seems insane. I don't know if anybody anymore is worth $25 million.
Well, not. I like. Okay, we'll jump ahead for those the more recent films. I do like them. I like Daniel Craig as Bond, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard to see any of these people worth so much, considering some of these films that we've, especially in this lot.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking it's like Batman. You can cast the right person, but at the same time, there's a lot of other people that are good backups. And once someone starts getting, I mean, just think about, okay, the Star Trek franchise shut down, which is going to be our next focus, is we're going to do 4 episodes on the Star Trek movies, is, it's on hiatus now because they can't get Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth. And I'm like, that's a little bit harder because only 2 people have played Kirk, It's not as well known character. They can just cast almost anybody.
Yeah, and especially with those films, you get the point that this is now the J.J. Abrams universe version, so you have these particular characters established.
Right.
You can't really go back and recasting everybody. Well, at least a damn good reason.
They could do side adventures. I don't understand why Star Trek seems to be the only franchise where it's locked down to one particular cast. And on TV it wasn't. And it just seems like that'd be a lot of fun just to explore different people in that same universe.
Yeah, that kind of seems to be the shame of the movies. But I think we're starting to get into the Star Trek cast. Sorry.
But my point was, it just seems like $25 million is a lot. But let's go back to 1987, after Pierce Brosnan lost his chance because they renewed Remington Steele. They gave it to Timothy Dalton instead. And at the time, I think a lot of people were put off by Timothy Dalton. And I look back going, are you people out of your fucking minds? This is exactly the right approach for the series. And I wish there had been more Timothy Daltons. I mean, there was a 6-year gap that could have at least fit in another one. But, this is when United Artists and MGM went bankrupt. And then things just kind of, flew away. And by the time they got back up and running is when they went in a different direction. And I'm just like, no. This is exactly the good stuff. And I will say something controversial. I think that License to Kill is a more entertaining film than Living Daylights.
I agree. 100%.
Oh, I guess it's not that controversial.
Living Daylights is very by the numbers. It feels very safe, not very interesting. It just it's an action movie that just kind of has Bond in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a formula that the Roger Moore movies had. And they always seem way too friggin' long, and these huge chunks they could have just cut out I didn't care for. And then you realize, I bet you Living Daylights was a script that was sitting around expecting it to be the Roger Moore world. And then just did some tweaks to modify it to, make it more towards Timothy Dalton's, dead serious version of him. Less clowny, less one-liner. Though they do force the one-liners into both this and License to Kill. And they're just, I can't do the one-liners, man.
Yeah, that turns into all these things. You have to have them be quippy and all that stuff. But these are much more. I hate the term dark, even though this is kind of that. But it's very much a little more serious than obviously the last couple of films that we've had.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of getting back into essentially the basics of the franchise, which were. He's a secret agent. He's doing secret agent stuff.
What I like about it is that they switched things in this one. Everybody you think is going to be bad ends up good, and the good people end up bad. And that was kind of fresh back then. They were really doing those switcheroos, which is commonplace now. I mean, you have, I can't remember his fucking name. He was a bad guy from The Fugitive. He was on this big arc on Miami Vice. Why can't I? French guy, right? He's French? I'm going to cheat.
Yeah,
I'm going to cheat and look. Well, he starts off as the hero and that he's going to be assassinated by Miriam Diabo. And, that gets switched. And then you have Art Malik, who was the bad guy in True Lies. And back then, all Middle Eastern people were, terrorists and stuff like that. And they switched that. And Joe Don Baker, who's the all-American, soldier guy, ends up being a bad guy. And I was like, that's kind of novel, for at least for the time period.
Well, what's funny about this is, just like Rambo 3, this and Rambo 3 do not hold up anymore because the Taliban are the heroes.
You're right. Oh, Jerome Crabb. I wouldn't ever remember that name to save my life.
Yeah, it's like I have only a couple of names of cast members from this one, and I don't know why I didn't write that one down.
Oh, John Rhys Davies. I forgot. John Rhys Davies.
I mentioned John Rhys Davies. Yeah. But yeah, we had a title song by Aha this time.
That was a joke. I can't remember the guy's name. But he was in a stand-up comedy group called Corky and the Juice Pigs, and they were on a bunch of episodes of Mad TV, I think around season 2 or 3. And he went off on his own, and then he was like, don't you love those James Bond movies, especially those songs? You have all the great singers, and he starts naming off all these legendary singers, and then he goes, and aha! It's such a mediocre song.
Yeah, it's this thing where it's a theme. Definitely by far not the worst, but nowhere near as good as some of these other themes that they've had.
No. And it's weird that I've seen this movie maybe 4 or 5 times, and yet, I just watched it last week for this, and I can't remember anything besides the fact that they ride around on a cello case. And Joe Don Baker has some sort of room set up with gadgets and stuff like that, and that's it. Why can't I remember this movie?
Honestly, there's nothing memorable about this film. It is, like I said, it's very generic. They felt like they kind of played it safe. Now, to be fair, the opening bit where Bond is helping the Koskov, the general, escape. This is the last Bond film to have any plot taken from the original stories, as well as the name. The Living Daylights is actually a title of from the short story collection.
Oh, that's weird, because I thought Goldeneye was one of the last ones, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, Goldeneye is a reference to, why am I blanking on his name again?
I think it's a reference to my favorite porno, Golden Thigh.
Yeah. No, it is a real life reference, not an actual Bond reference.
And there's not much for me to say on this one. It's just passable. It's better than some of the Roger Moore, like Live and Let Die, or not Live and Let Die, A View to a Kill, stuff like that. Octopussy, definitely better than Octopussy and Moonraker.
Almost anything is better than a couple of those films.
Yeah, but it's License to Kill. License to Kill is the one that I love, and it nearly killed the series. And I don't think it has anything to do with the quality of the film or if people were tired of Bond. If you look, the series in general was starting to dip a little bit. It had its peak, I think, with Moonraker, which was like $79 million, and then slowly just kept dropping. But the biggest problem is that it was released in the summer of '89 against Lethal Weapon 2, Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade,
Batman,
Ghostbusters 2, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Not that that's the same audience, but it's still just a massive movie that people went to. And you can see why Star Trek and Bond were kind of looking long in the tooth to a lot of younger audiences, plus the fact that Star Trek 5 sucks. But License to Kill, massive overseas. It just didn't do well in America, and that's kind of a shame because if there's anything about this movie that I can say is that it's modernized. It feels like a Joel Silver production. It's got crazy action sequences that you remember. It's got a great cast. Oh my God, there's so many of those guys. Those guys, you put in quotation marks, that always play like tough guys in all the great 80s and early 90s films.
I can never remember his name, but Robert Davey. Every time I see him, I go, oh my God, that's the guy. I love that guy. He's always great.
Well, he's not so great. He's great as an actor. He's not great as a person. He's a huge Trump supporter. Fuck him.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But this is the one where most of it's, takes place in America, so I think it's easier to cast a lot of American people that you know. And two, it's very personal to him. I think it's one of the most personal since the On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Is that, now Felix is getting married, and Felix has been in and out of the series, since the beginning, and he gets killed, and now it's time for vengeance. And you really can connect to that one.
Yeah, because especially with us watching these films kind of back to back to back, and it's not necessarily that Felix, has only been kind of in here and there, just little bits, but it always kind of felt like Bond had a great relationship with this dude. And then, it's like he's the best man at the wedding, and then he gets mutilated, and his wife is raped and murdered, and you 100% understand the motivation of Bond going rogue.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they are going to kill him. They take away his license to kill, and they take away his gun, but they're going to kill him? I don't get that. You would think they would just put him on suspension and let him just do whatever the hell he wants. They can fire him. Or wait, can you be fired from 007? Has anybody ever been fired? Just removed?
Not that I'm aware of. All the agents seem to be killed.
No, maybe that's the thing, is that you're in it for life. You're like the mob.
That makes sense because, these people they know too much. So
yeah, that's what
I
I
would
was
have a
thinking.
feeling that
They're too privy to secrets.
Oh, a couple of things for both of these films, just kind of weird, random little points of trivia. Christopher Reeve almost Bond at one point.
What?
He turned down $1 million to play Bond for Living Daylight.
He's not British.
Yeah. Oh, and Sam Neill was also Bond. So was Sean Bean.
Did you know that they offered Christopher Reeve The Running Man? And he didn't believe they could do it on the budget that they had, which I think was $15 million, so he bailed to go do Superman 4.
Well, Superman 4 was his pet project. I get that, but that was a very dumb decision in retrospect.
Yeah. In my head, I recast. I don't know if you've ever seen Judgment Night with Emilio Estevez, but I recast it in my head. Like, what if it took place in the 80s? And I would totally have Christopher Reeve in the Emilio Estevez role.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, that definitely would have been changed. Definitely can't change some of the dynamics on that movie though. But yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like he's big and tough, but he always seems like kind of preppy, and he wouldn't survive much in the city. Oh, we did it again. We didn't want a tangent. Another tangent. Damn it.
That's all right.
Actually,
Daylight.
I have a Facebook friend who is in License to Kill. Anthony Stark. He plays the sleazy bookkeeper guy that helps that whole scam they have with Wayne Newton and the whole cult government. What do you want to call it? It's like he's scamming people for the money.
Yeah, it's weird cult stuff. Yeah, but trust me, big pyramid scheme deal.
Yeah, that almost seems superfluous to the plot. I almost feel like that's unnecessary. I don't understand why some of the Bonds need to have a novel feel. Why some just can't cut the fat and just go. And I guess that's why a lot of people don't like Quantum of Solace, because it's real like, hey, we're not going to have any extra. We're just going to go. And that I would prefer that, honestly, out of the Bond movies. They don't need to be 2 hours and 15 minutes. Make them an hour and a half. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, streamlining these things would be nice, but at the same time, everybody wants to take vacations to all these nice, wonderful places.
That's true.
Let's go shoot in these wonderfully beautiful locations under the pretense that we're going to make a movie.
And it's funny that
let's have down there this bitch.
Everybody knows who the Bond movies. They all know them, and they all know that everybody's going to see it, no matter how big their part is. And so I think pretty much anybody will show up, even for a couple days. Who's the bad guy? That was in Silver Bullet. He's on Twin Peaks.
He's not seen Silver Bullet.
You've never seen Silver Bullet, son of a bitch! Holy shit! Are you a horror guy at all?
I am a horror guy.
I'm gonna look this up. It's bugging
like
me.
Werewolf, yeah.
My memory's going, and that's not good. Silver Bullet. Okay, so he was also in Under Siege 2, but he's in this for just a couple scenes as like the government guy who you think is good, and then no, he's not, and they dumps him into the shark pit. Everett McGill is in this for 5 minutes. I like him.
It's like what was also fun to see is Benicio del Toro.
Oh yeah.
Very first roles.
God, he was young. Man, I probably like 18 or 19. That was interesting seeing him in this. I think it's funny is that you see Frank McRae, who was the boss in 48 Hours. The one's always he was a cliche of always yelling at the cops that turn your badge and gun, you're out of control. He even parodies himself in Last Action Hero.
Yes, I love Frank McRae also, and that felt bad when they killed him. It's like, aww.
I don't remember him getting killed. When did this happen? I don't remember him dying.
Yeah, I don't have the note exactly what happened, but yeah, it's like, because he gets killed by Robert Davies' group. They find his boat because Bond's stuck onto the boat, and they find his boat elsewhere, and he's just kind of like hung up on the side.
Oh, never mind. I remember that now. Yeah. Yeah, this was vicious. This one feels like it should star Mel Gibson instead, who technically he could since he's from Australia.
Yeah, it's like I think that was the big problem is that between these two films, these were much grittier than previous films. So all of a sudden it's like, Bond's supposed to be fun. It's like, well, yeah, but this is...
It's like, did you read the books? He's kind of a sociopath.
Yeah, at that point you do kind of have to have actual, not necessarily espionage, but your agent action. And now that we're in this era of all these high-budget, big blown action films with all these things, you can't just get around with space lasers and stuff like that
anymore. It's funny is that everything that plagued Timothy Dalton's run, they basically brought into GoldenEye. 6 years later, it's a dead serious, a little bit lighter. But after that is when they went into Roger Moore territory, and that's where I think it falls apart. I think GoldenEye is almost a perfect Bond movie. It's so much fun. Martin Campbell is a hell of a director, and he really knew how to control movies. Almost everything that he's done has been truly interesting to me. He did those Zorro movies. He did what's the one on the mountain? Damn it, with Chris O'Donnell, Extreme Limits or something like that.
Vertical Limit.
Vertical Limit. God, I love that movie. And No Escape with Ray Liotta. He's a guy who knew to cut the fat and keep things going, and I think that's what GoldenEye works so well.
Yeah, GoldenEye is amazing, and that's it. It's also kind of weird because it's all of a sudden you have Bond being called out, on sexual harassment.
Yeah,
there is, it's like they're talking
that he should wear protection.
Sex. Yeah, it's kind of like it's so bizarre, especially just jumping right immediately from License to Kill to that.
Yeah,
where it's just completely different eras, mindsets, everything. You kind of can see a transition in stuff as these films go along, but the most brick wall, thing between these two eras is just License to Kill to GoldenEye. All of a sudden, just everything is different now.
Well, yeah, the biggest thing is that Russia collapsed and the Great Wall fell, and that whole thing just completely switched. And, that's the big driving point of this is those missiles, from Russia that's now defective. Well, now in our terms, I think they're probably almost as strong as they were in the 80s, just they're not calling themselves communists anymore. All those missiles that we don't have any money to take care of them and store them, let's just sell them off, and then some just come up missing. And that's a big driving point. I think a lot of movies from the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, and it's but everything about this film it's a perfect action film. Pierce Brosnan's amazing. I will still, spoiler alert for the rest of these ones, I think Pierce Brosnan's run is maybe 40% good.
He really does do all the heavy lifting. He really does. I commend him because he's so damn good.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan is truly the best thing about the Pierce Brosnan run of these films. Well, Pierce Brosnan and Judi Dench.
Oh, yeah. Because Judi Dench takes over in this one, correct?
Yeah, she's the new M.
Yeah. What's weird is the theory that there is a James Bond identity, but different people take that mantle, solidifies once you realize that Q is in almost all of these.
Yeah, and the only way these films really work is by doing that. Now, there was an interesting thing that I read about, I think, For Living Daylights, was it was supposed to be a Bond origin story at one point, where the end of the film was essentially him getting the mission for Dr. No.
Okay, cool.
Then that didn't happen, so then... But it's like, yeah, here's one thing for GoldenEye. Imagine the alternate universe in which John Woo directed this film.
Well, I know that he wanted to. I know a lot of people wanted to. I knew Quentin Tarantino was desperate to do one too. And Spielberg, I think, was desperate. And that's how Raiders of the Lost Ark became a thing, because he couldn't get the rights to James Bond, and then he just started to do his own high adventure series.
Yeah, I kind of would love to see a John Woo directed GoldenEye, except for the fact that I do remember a John Woo directed Mission Impossible film.
Yeah, don't you fucking dare bring that up in this house.
So it's like he's an amazing action director, and especially at that time.
Yeah, but you can almost always tell who's going to be a douchebag based on which Mission Impossible is their favorite. If they say 2, you're like, all right, they're Limp Bizkit, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
that's the other thing, is that during this time, there really was no spy movies. There was True Lies, which was a big hit, and then If Looks Could Kill, with Richard Grieco, which was an absolute flop. That was basically the only spy movie, so I think people were hungry for that genre to come back, and it was before Austin Powers made it a spoof kind of thing. So, yeah, I can see why this did so well. And I don't think it even opened that well. Like, I think it opened okay, and then just word of mouth just kept it going for like 6 weeks during Christmas.
Yeah, and well, it's also, this has a great cast too. In general, even if this had nothing to do with the Bond franchise, they just had all the same actors. I mean, Sean Bean's in it, Frank Desson, Alan Cummings in this damn thing, Jackie Caro, just like so many good people, and just interspersed in this film.
I remember I had seen The Living Daylights for the first time just prior to GoldenEye, because I was getting revved up for James Bond movies, and I saw Joe Don Baker, and I was like, hold the fucking phone. Now, wait a second. See, that also screws up the theory, because unless he has a twin brother who's good, who also works in the government, that doesn't work, because just a couple movies ago, he was a villain.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. But then again, that's also, he's taking over for Felix, because there's still some continuity of...
Right.
Yeah, Felix is now retired, and he's, living the life of a one-legged man.
Oh, it's so confusing. So, yeah, GoldenEye itself, the final action sequence on that satellite station is so impressive and honestly terrifying. I'm terrified of heights. And, that's right, the beginning of it starts really high up, too, because they scale down via, the way the Universal Soldier started. No, that's right. No, Universal Soldier starts off with them scaling down on the ropes really fast. This one is the bungee cord, right?
Yeah, the bungee cord off the top of the dam.
Such a bonkers way to start it. Man, to think this movie only cost $50 million. That's crazy to me, because $50 million barely buys you, the basic action movie.
Yeah, different time, different budget. I'd be interested to see how much this actually costs with inflation.
Oh, yeah, I imagine way more. But also, it's before he got the big $20 million paydays. Before they really started traveling all over the place. I think a lot of this was pretty contained into 1 or 2 locations. The second one is where it starts to go right really fast. I think the action's great. I think the cast is great. But you can almost see this is a little excessive. This is a little too long, and the one-liners are getting worse.
Oh, man. I was looking forward to watching this one, because I was thinking about, Tomorrow Never Dies. That's the one where the guy's trying to, basically make the news.
Right.
This is going to be interesting in this current climate of fake news and all this stuff, where it's like, I have to see how this worked. And I think this film, it wasn't great. Even when it came out, I remember not particularly loving it. I thought, action sequences were fine, but kind of... Yeah.
Yeah, because Jonathan Pryce just isn't that interesting. The concept is fine, but he himself isn't interesting. He's got a Dolph Lundgren clone as a side henchman or whatever. And I do remember coming out of the theater going, it was okay, but I don't know. I don't think I'd ever own it. And it's not going to launch a very successful Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this film is now a little bit more important in a sense.
By the way, when we say fake
But
news,
that-
we mean legitimate fake news. We don't say it like Trump
Yeah.
says it, like where he just whatever he doesn't
No.
agree with is fake news. We literally mean manufactured news.
Because it was never really a hidden idea. That Jonathan Pryce's character was basically a takeoff of Rupert Murdoch anyway.
Right.
So kind of,
I lost you, boy. I lost you.
it's essentially nowadays we've got Jonathan Pryce was always a stand-in for Rupert Murdoch, his character anyway, and now that we've passed that and into this new world of manufactured news, into false information being disseminated, this movie really does change, kind of becomes a lot more sinister than it was before.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I think this is the last time that he really had something special with the series. Because no, it's not Die Another Day. The World Is Not Enough is the one where I was in the theater rolling my eyes going, oh shit. We're back into Roger Moore territory.
Yeah, okay. This has a couple of really good things in it, but it's like minuscule over the course of this entire film. Like, I like the theme to this film. I actually like the theme by Garbage.
Well, yeah, everybody loves garbage. Who doesn't love garbage? No, I mean that seriously, but that is a funny way to say that. But it's both Bond girls are god awful. Robert Carlyle is a fantastic actor with a fantastic concept that goes nowhere. It's almost as if he wasn't even invited to auditions or rehearsal. It's just like he shows up, say your line. Oh, that was it. I thought we were just Oh, okay, we're done. Thank you. It was so mediocre. And the one-liners are fucking terrible. And I remember the action sequences being so insanely over the top that I was just like, come on, a log-cutting helicopter? No.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's so much wrong with this film. But I will say this. I mean, granted, Desmond Llewellyn, this is his last Bond film as Q. He died shortly before the film came out. And so everyone was assuming he was going to return, but in that thing, his final line and like kind of how he leaves the franchise is so wonderful because he's talking about he's showing us John Cleese as the young man who might replace him in the future, and as he's leaving, he's just like he has this little thing in his last line, it's like always have an escape, and I'm just like, oh man, that's
perfect.
Had they known that he was going to die, that would have been perfect. Not knowing it and giving him that exit, it's like everything about that just kind of go like, oh man.
It's for some reason I thought Die Another Day was Q's last one, but I for some reason I guess I misplaced which movie that happened in. What's funny is I can't even remember the plot of this movie.
Oh, there's a plot where I tried. Literally, I will read you my plot notes.
Okay.
Bond must protect an oil heiress and stop a terrorist from destroying oil pipelines or something like that. There's bombs in it. Motivations aren't really clear. Damn, this movie sucks.
Yeah, I just remember her going, I'm a nuclear physicist, and I was like, nope, no. No, forget it. Oh, and your last name's Christmas? No, nobody's last name. Stop it.
No, her first name's Christmas.
Oh, her first name's Christmas? No, I forgot that.
Christmas Jones, yeah. Dr. Christmas Jones.
Oh, God. I remember at the end when he said I thought Christmas only came once a year, and I was like, oh, fuck, no, that's not how you end this movie.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Tara Reid. Not that she was the person up for it, but
she's probably too short.
That Uwe Boll film.
Oh, God, yeah.
Alone in the Dark.
That's it, right.
And, yeah. At least Denise Richards can act. Not good.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said that in quotation marks.
Yeah. She at least can't, she's been good in stuff. But, yeah, not this.
What has she been good in? You tell me what she's been good in.
Starship Troopers.
No, she's not good in that. She's intentionally bad. Well, they cast her because they knew she was terrible. Paul Verhoeven's been fucking with us for decades.
But Paul Verhoeven, what he's doing.
Yeah.
And And I'll even give that when everyone shits on Showgirls. Paul Verhoeven knows what he's doing.
Yo, he knows exactly what he's doing, and no one was in on the joke until later when we were all kind of like sat there going, "Wait a minute, did he do this on purpose?" And you're like, "Oh shit, he did." And you know what? I just thought of one. She is actually really good in Drop Dead Gorgeous with Kirsten Dunst. That movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And Sophia Marceau is just a dud. She's just a pretty face. There's just nothing there. I think this is the lowest point of the Pierce Brosnan run. I know a lot of people say Die Another Day is. I don't think so.
That was the thing. I was going into this going, oh shit, I have to watch Die Another Day, don't I? I remember hating that movie with a passion. And getting through this, I'm going, Christ, was this movie really that bad? And I just kind of forgot.
Yeah, so I skipped Die Another Day because Tomorrow Never Dies was so bleh. And I think maybe because my expectations were so low by this point that I was actually okay with Die Another Day. I think it has two interesting villains. It has a couple interesting action sequences, even though they're completely far-fetched and comic booky. I mean, I was watching what's the last one? Fate of the Furious, going, oh yeah, this feels just like Die Another Day.
I could not. I tried to watch that one. I couldn't.
Yeah, it's gone too far. I think they know that too. I think they know the Fast and Furious franchise has hit a wall because you haven't heard anybody mention Part 9, have you? Even though the last one made $1 billion.
Well, I've heard that the spinoff is going to happen, and we should see something from that.
Oh yeah, no, they're filming it right now, Shaw and Hobbs, that one, but it's still not. I just don't think people like Vin Diesel. I think the reason the series has been so successful is because of the people around him. And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with 9, especially with no Paul Walker. Period. It really hurt at 8, and you can get a great villain too. And I think the only way to end the series is get all the surviving villains from the rest of the series and just get them to form their own supervillain team and basically just turn into the Justice League versus the Legion of Doom.
Okay, I might be down for that.
And Vin Diesel has to die at the end. Just end this shit. Yeah. But Die Another Day, they really wanted a miniseries, or not a miniseries, a spinoff with Jinx. I remember they were pushing hard for that. And this is the first time I think the Bond girl was a known commodity. Like, she was really known. She had won the Oscar a couple years earlier. And so, I think that year is when she won for Monsters Ball.
Yeah, because they had to shut down production because she went to the Oscars and got her Oscar.
Yeah, well, I know they shut down production too because she had a piece of shrapnel in her eye, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Oof.
But the main reason why that didn't happen, and I am torn for the reasons. I get why, because the movies that they were trying to that came out around that same time were Charlie's Angels 2 and Tomb Raider 2.
Oh, both tanked. Yeah.
Well, they did fine, just not as well as everybody wanted. So it's kind of like, oh, female-led action films aren't going to go anywhere. We can't do this. Yeah. But I also kind of thought about it. I went, I get it. Okay, yeah, she's an NSA agent. That. I kind of didn't want that because there's a moment in the film where she's like kind of breaking into the bad guy's facility, and I'm kind of thinking it'd be better if she was a thief, if she was essentially Catwoman.
Yeah. Oh, don't you dare bring that up. Yeah. That's another reason why they probably didn't go. The stench on Catwoman was so bad, even though I know it was a year and a half later. But that's probably when they were starting to ramp up production on Jinx. I think the stench on Catwoman was so bad, they're just like, you know what, let's just wash our hands of this.
What's funny is I didn't even think about that until after I said it. Yeah. But it's like, basically her being a thief, her kind of doing that sort of stuff, and that going, that would have actually been a much more interesting character and concept for a film series was basically her being the quote-unquote gentleman thief, going around and doing stuff, and then maybe, Pierce Brosnan or whatever show up to kind of tie those things in again a little bit more. But,
Well, okay, so I remember the beginning of it is he's meeting up with those Chinese military guys, and they're trying to sell some weaponry, and then he sets off a bomb, and it blows up, and then that guy gets the diamonds permanently embedded in his face, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Because it is one of those Jaws rules where it's like, oh, this is a really memorable villain. But then the brother changes his face. They become that British guy from, I can't remember his name, from Severance.
Yeah, they have. There's a gene therapy thing going on where you can essentially rewrite your DNA.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's like, I will say this. I like this film. A couple of things here and there. I think the theme by Madonna is ear rape worthy. It's one of the worst fucking themes.
Oh, her performance is worse. Her performance is worse. Don't you dare. Yeah, it's like, you're doubling down on the Madonna. Why?
I'm not gonna say I'm not saying she's good in this, or even I didn't even, no. But that theme is worse than her performance in the film. I just want to stab my ears out listening to that.
I thought the fencing battle was interesting, though. That was fun.
Yeah, like I said, the film really starts to fall apart once you get to the Ice Palace, and even then, it's kind of near the end of that sequence. But a lot of that is Lee Tamahori's fault.
Yeah,
like in the opening, in the gun barrel sequence where the bullet goes through the gun barrel. That was his idea. He also had the idea of doing the kite surfing sequence, where Bond escapes the laser satellite sunbeam thing.
Yeah, for some reason I was really hyped up for Lee Tamahori because I don't know if you've seen Once Were Warriors or his follow-up Mulholland Falls. Oh, yeah. Those are pretty good.
He's a good director. And then he did this.
And then everything went to shit. I mean, okay, so I actually think Triple X 2 is a fun watch. It's incredibly stupid, but it's really fun. And then he did that one next with Nicolas Cage. And then he just kind of disappeared. And here's the horrible thing. He didn't disappear because his movies were terrible. He disappeared because he was shamed into hiding because he was caught cross-dressing or something like that he was a transvestite. And I was like, who gives a shit? Why is that a fucking thing?
That's a shitty thing to do to a person.
Yeah.
But this film did come out on the 40th anniversary of the franchise. So this film is just completely littered with references to all the other films. I mean, some are kind of obvious, like in the when he comes up and meets John Cleese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call him R, but in the film he's called Q. But when he meets R in the little abandoned tunnels, there's a couple of the old things there. But literally, it's like you could run through this entire film and go, that's a reference, that's a reference, that's a reference. So that's kind of the part of the problem with this film is that it's less of a film and more of just, hey, look, we made a film to honor every single thing of 40 years of movies.
Right, it's like a greatest hits collection.
But this also, again, Lee Tamahori's not a bad director, and the guys I'm going to mention have made, some okay films, but there's also an alternate universe where Brett Ratner and Stuart Baird both made this film.
Well, what's funny is you said Stuart Baird, and he directed Star Trek Nemesis, which came out a couple weeks after this and got murdered because James Bond and Lord of the Rings, what's the second one called? The Two Towers? Basically destroyed Star Trek Nemesis. And I just thought that was funny that you mentioned Stuart Baird because that's what he ended up directing. I actually like Stuart Baird. I think he did a couple decent movies, and it's kind of a shame that he went back to editing.
Yeah, it's like I say, both of them have made films that I have not hated, but I will at least go, that's a better choice for Lee Tamahori than those two guys.
Yeah, and this is, I don't know if they ever planned on doing a fifth one with Pierce Brosnan, and then MGM went bankrupt again. I think it's like the third time now they've gone bankrupt, maybe fourth by the time we've done this podcast. But they always seem to be struggling because someone stripped them of their catalog in 1989, and they just had, for every hit that they had, they would always have like 5 or 6 duds, and it just ate away at them. And the James Bond movies got more expensive. I think Die Another Day, I think if I remember correctly, cost $150 million, which in 2002 is a lot of money.
Yeah. And if I remember right, this thing did make bank. This thing did do very well.
But it wasn't enough to prop up the studio.
Yeah. But, there's so much weird, like, these films really just kind of like, it starts off, for Brosnan's run, truly starts off at the highest note and then just kind of dips, nose dives into horribleness. Like, The end of this film, I swear to God, I started just making fun of it because you have our villain wearing his little power suit. And I'm just looking at it going, like, at one point they're working on a glove for him that's going to emit electric shocks. I'm just like, I love the power glove.
I know, that's what I was going to say. It's so rad.
It's like, oh, man.
Is this the one with the flipping car? It has a little thing on the bottom of it. It misses a couple missiles by flipping it, which is ridiculous.
Honestly, this is the invisible car.
Oh, the invisible one, right. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I know there's a movie where he has a car that has like a little thing on the bottom of it, and it'll flip it up and around.
I want to say that was in Tomorrow Never Dies, but he was remote controlling his car.
Yeah, okay. Huh. I don't know. They all get kind of confusing with the gadgets and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, these things all bleed together.
Yeah.
It's just, I love looking at little trivia things, because some of these ones, like, what were some of these ones? Pet Shop Boys almost did a theme for Living Daylight.
What? Oh, Living Daylights. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, I guess, since they were red hot at that time.
Eric Clapton and Vic Flick almost did the theme for License to Kill.
Nice.
Ace of Base did a theme for Goldeneye.
Really?
It ended up, obviously fell through, and ended up recycled into a song called The Juvenile. So if you want to look for that one, it's Juvenile and Goldeneye have the same, thing. So it's like, or at least how they were singing it. Tomorrow Never Dies' theme was actually chosen from a competition with a bunch of different bands. Where there was 12 entries. One of which I know you can find, which is Pulp. Their theme is a B-side to their single for Help the Aged.
Okay, Pulp, are they the ones that sang Common People? I'm going to look that up.
So.
Pulp. I know that name. I'm expecting you to say Smash Mouth. A 1997 movie theme song. I'm expecting you to say Smash Mouth.
Oh, no. Actually, one of them is... I think it was for Goldeneye, Rolling Stones were offered the title song.
I can see that. Was Silverchair one of them? Third Eye Blind? Mystical? Jamiroquai. Was Jamiroquai on one of those? He had to have been up on the list.
Yeah, World Is Not Enough.
Okay. Common People, yeah, that's Pulp's one big hit.
Yeah. But also for World Is Not Enough, Jerry Holloway from the Spice Girls was also was up for Christmas Jones.
Wow. Oh, was for the... Wow, I'm actually shocked for the acting part. You know what? I'll take her. I'll take her over Denise Richards.
I don't know. Granted, I've not seen Spice World.
No. I know people are crazy about Spice World, and I just don't get it.
My girlfriend loves it, but that was her kind of jam at the time, so, I guess.
I shouldn't say anything because I think Spice World came out around the time of the big hit with Mark Wahlberg and Lou Diamond Phillips, and I was fucking crazy for that movie. It's still fun, but I don't know why I was so obsessed with it.
No, but yeah, I think the other interesting one was Peter Jackson almost did World Is Not Enough.
Oh, wow.
Like Barbara Broccoli, she was interested in him because of Heavenly Creatures, but then she saw The Frighteners, and she was like, "No, I do not want this. I do not like what he did with this."
See, if I had seen The Frighteners, I'd been like, "Yeah, I can do it." Now if I had seen Dead Alive, and I may have been apprehensive, I was like, "Oof," but he did Frighteners for like $30 million, and it looked like a $70 million movie. And that shows me right there. I was like, well, he can be exciting and fun and save us some money. Nope. Oh, Jake Busey could have been the villain. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, actually, that'd be interesting.
I defy you to find any performance by by Jake Busey where he doesn't say "God damn it" like 80 times. He does. Every single movie I've ever seen. The worst is Black Cat Run with Patrick Muldoon, written by Frank Darabont, where he says it like every other second.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's kind of obscure. All right, so I think we kind of hit the end. I don't know what to say. that it started off so promising and ended so, it's a sign of the excess of Hollywood. I don't understand why it is that some of these movies feel like they have to spend the money if they have it. Like sometimes I love the Marvel movies, but sometimes I'm like, you could have cut this down. You don't need to spend the money just because you got it. Use it for some other project. The James Bond movies, I think, are better when the budgets are tighter.
They definitely are, or at least when they have a much more focused concept. Because some of these films, like we were talking about View to a Kill, where all of a sudden they just kind of go off for an hour and a half on horses, and it's like, where are you going with this?
Right. Sometimes it feels like a Mad Libs movie. Like, it's just like, oh, we have all these empty spaces, just fill in the spot with whatever random thing, It's just, it doesn't all line up like it's supposed to. And I think that's why the Bourne Identity took its place for a little while, because this is in 2002 when the first one came out, and that was a sensation, and that kind of took the heat off of the James Bond movies, because now they became cartoonish. And I think that's why people kind of got bored with it, and then when we relaunch it here with Daniel Craig, it's when it's more of a Bourne flavor.
Yeah, and these stories are definitely a lot more concentrated. They aren't
personal.
Yeah, well, there's definitely some personal stuff in that, but it's not as sci-fi, I guess, would be the nice
right,
way to
right.
put it. Because some of these things just go off into weird tangents that it's like you're stretching credibility now.
Lots of lasers during the Roger Moore period.
Yeah, again, so they're going the Icarus sunbeam from Die Another Day. It's like, I like this idea, except I literally know that's the only reason why you have it is because you're going to melt this ice palace that everybody's in.
Yeah.
It's like okay, you're going to destroy the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. All right. So it's like, no, the reason why it exists is because you're doing this. It doesn't have to be a sunbeam. Except we're gonna melt this damn ice palace.
Right. Yeah, we have one episode left. It's going to be the Daniel Craig 4 films, and as far as we know, we don't even know if there's going to be a fifth one. So that'll be our final film examining that. Then we'll jump into the Star Trek one, which I've already watched all of them, which was a blast. And then we'll jump into our kaiju stuff, probably by April, maybe. And that's it for us here. Thank you for listening. Check us out on Video Night Podcast on Facebook. And I guess John, set us out.
Everybody, enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you next time.
That's it. I'm getting hungry and tired, so I gotta go. Good night, everybody.
Hey, later, guys.
Hey everybody, welcome to the final episode of Downloads Are Forever, the James Podcast. Bondcast? What did we call it? We changed the name like 10 times. I think it's the James Bondcast because I think I'm clever and I'm not.
Bondcast.
I'm Michael and my co-host is on the other side. Hey, hello to everybody. John.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
I love just pushing around and do my bidding. Let me get my eye patch and my cat describe. So, it's been a little gap since the last episode. Apologize for the wait. The journey's come to an end. I was going to hold off because by now I assumed that the next Bond movie would be ready to go, and we were just going to kind of do that, and it keeps getting delayed, so I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
They keep saying that there is. Allegedly, Cary Joji Fukunaga, the guy who did the It.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be directing this one now.
Yeah, well, is it now? It's a script doctor thing, right? They brought in someone to work on it, punch it up.
Something like that. Yeah. But then considering how a lot of these films go, why are they working on a script? They just
go out and shoot something. Call it a Bond movie.
No, I don't know, man, because it's not like the old Bonds. Now, there's a period where it was every 2 years. It had to be like every 2 years, like clockwork. It didn't matter if the script was ready or anything. It's like Roger Moore's getting older, let's go. And Pierce Brosnan's getting older, let's go. And at the rate they're going, it's amazing that it's been 13 years since Casino Royale. We've only had 4 films. Like, that's not how that works.
No, this is a lot of delays, a lot of issues, a lot of fighting. We've kind of talked about this a lot. It's the Bond films have had like the most litigious series of all times, it seems.
It's just crazy. Well, and they're also the bankruptcies weren't helping. They went bankrupt in '89, and they went bankrupt in 2005. Then again, and like they had serious financial troubles. Like they couldn't get The Hobbit going. They couldn't get the next James Bond going. And MGM has just been a studio that's been struggling forever, ever since Ted Turner bought them and stripped it of its catalog. Yeah,
at this point, I'm expecting the next Bond to be completely recast. At this point, I'm not. I like Daniel Craig. I like this. In watching these films again, I really do think Daniel Craig's run has been the best. But granted, it's still it's like. I was going like, oh yeah, with Pierce Brosnan, like 40% of his run is good, but I think I highly associate Brosnan with Bond. This one, it's like, yeah, the 4 films, basically 75% of his films are really good.
Yeah, well, but also you got to look, even if he wanted to continue, which he's always talking about quitting. Like even after the first one, he's like, oh fuck this, I'm out. And then they keep offering more and more money. I don't know if he's playing them for more money. Isn't he getting $25 million for this next one?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like they know they could recast. You could hire me to play James Bond for $100,000, and I'm good.
Yeah, I'm very curious who and what direction they're going to go next. Regardless of what.
Yeah, they're talking about who is it? They're always talking about replacing him. The guy from Dark Tower. Shit.
Oh, Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, but he is getting too old now. I mean, by the time they get that going, he's going to be 50. And you can lie all you want and say, oh, age doesn't matter. Yeah, it actually kind of does matter in the James Bond series because it beats the shit out of you.
Well, it's also the kid from Kingsman, I think, is one of the ones where people are kind of saying, hey, he's done a James Bond type film. Let's get him in a James Bond film.
Yeah, but he's kind of short, isn't he? Am I wrong? I think he's kind of diminutive?
Well, yeah, but that's what Apple boxes are for.
Oh, okay. But also I want to see the Kingsman franchise continue because I absolutely adore the first 2. And with Fox selling to Disney, I don't know if there's going to be a 3, and I don't know if it's going to be R-rated. But man, that seems like there's so much more potential. Like that is a love letter to the old school Bond movies, all the crazy gadgets, and that's kind of something they dumped in this new series. Daniel Craig, they take it back to the absolute just almost a level of where. I can't think of it. License to Kill. That almost that level.
I was thinking about this, and Die Another Day notwithstanding, I kind of thought about this and went, there's kind of 2 eras of Bond in a sense. You have the Sean Connery and Roger Moore era, which became very bombastic, very kind of like there's some kind of wild ideas out there in some cases, like with Live and Let Die. It's like supernatural in some cases.
Yeah.
Elements to some of these films.
Lots of lasers.
Kind of yeah, and then kind of once you get to
Living Daylights.
Not Roger Moore. Yeah, once you get to Living Daylights, and from there on, it's a little more grounded in reality. And then again, I also go. Die Another Day notwithstanding.
Yeah. That one gets a little crazy.
How insane that one goes, but we all, again, their 50th anniversary, we're making a mixtape, not a movie.
Yeah.
So this, I kind of see it's like there's, Daniel Craig's is basically the summation of all this because it's definitely grounded in a reality that is tangible to all of us as opposed to any of these other things. Since there's very little in the way of gadgets and stuff like that, being kind of mocked.
Well, yeah, I think
in
he says a
the
joke in Skyfall. He's like, we don't go for that kind of like stuff around here. Like no exploding pens. It's real simple. Like all the gadgets are very, very grounded. I think the most elaborate they get is like the gun that can detect your fingerprints. And it will fire if it's you, but it won't fire if it's someone else. It's really practical not special effects gadgets.
Yeah, and that's what I think. It's like, and again, yes, and I'm also talking. Yes, this is a thing with a remote controlled car and things like that. But plots and things like that from
no invisible
from that
cars.
time on just kind of seem like they're a little more tangible.
Well, what changed was Bourne Identity came out in 2002, and some of All Fears probably had a little bit to do with it. Those were both in 2002, and those were like international espionage and spy stuff, but very grounded in reality.
And yeah, and that's kind of what I respect about the Daniel Craig films, is that it's also, this is the only group. Craig's run is essentially a 4-film trilogy.
Yeah, because the stories all do link up together, whereas a lot of the Bond movies, they didn't. In fact, it never really did connect, did it? It always seemed like it was just a one-and-done adventure where there's no linking.
Yeah, the most that we had was between Dr. No and From Russia with Love. They mention in the beginning, Bond killed Dr. No. We have to get him. But that's, and then there's references here or there to like Bond being married, and things like that. So you kind of, it was a loose connection, but yeah, it was essentially every story you could jump in on almost any point of the franchise and understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas you walk into we're gonna jump a little bit ahead, but you jump into Quantum of Solace, and it's directly, it is the third act to Casino Royale essentially, or fourth act really.
What I think is funny is that everybody's bitching, James Bond can't be blonde, this guy isn't fit for it, and now it's like, oh, no, we can't have anybody but Daniel Craig. It happens with every Bond, it seems, except Timothy Dalton, where they're just like, it's a new Bond, we can't tolerate this, and, and then, we can't replace him. It seemed like Timothy Dalton were like, and then they got rid of him, But now, upon reflection, we appreciate his work.
Yes. But,
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Casino
jump
Royale.
into this quick.
Let me say this real quick. I think the fact that they finally touched upon the fact that there's some joy that James Bond finds in the chaos and the destruction, almost a sociopathic level. Especially like there's a scene when there's a big bomb that blows up and the guy gets killed, and he just kind of has that small smile on his face, like he takes joy in it. And it's by the end of the movie is when he changes into a full-fledged, human being with a emotional range, which I don't think was ever really touched in the series outside of the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Well, that's also because he had it's Vesper, who's really that thing where he's going into this going, yeah, I'm gonna go and I gotta fight the bad guys and do all this stuff. And when he sees kind of the emotional toll it takes on someone who's not trained for this,
right?
Because he's divorced from all this stuff. The girlfriend of that God, trying to think of like who all these people are in this film. The girlfriend of the guy that he ends up killing.
Oh, the Russian girl, the one from.
Yeah.
She's always like the model in these movies, but I remember her oddly enough from one of the Howling movies. I think the remake.
Olga. Yeah, like Phil Long or something like that is the character name. She's, he gets killed, and he's just kind of meh.
Yeah, it's part of the job, which is required. I mean, he has a job that's severely dangerous. You can't have emotional involvement. You have to do it, And they come upon this numerous times in the series where they have to make really hard decisions. And if you're emotional like I am, you couldn't do it. But he has to. He has no choice.
Yeah, and that kind of seems, and we get as these films progress a little bit more, as you said, you kind of see partially sociopathic, but then he's slowly, there's cracks in this, and he starts to, he's got feelings that he has to constantly bury to keep doing the job.
Well, I think Skyfall does a really good job of explaining like his tragic childhood, and then that he had to like separate himself in order to manage through life, and that's why he became that way. And then it slowly, like you said, his shell starts to crack, and he becomes a normal human being. And I think that's what makes this, like you said, almost like quadrilogy, way better. And the series is so much better for it because I just got sick and tired of the gadgets and the quips and just the bullshit, the cliches of the whole series.
Yeah, and this, especially Casino Royale, really, really doesn't focus on any of that. Partially because it is the new Bond origin story.
Yeah.
We get to see him.
Well, it's
get
also
his
the
double O
directors.
status.
The way they chose the directors altered the series. Now, Martin Campbell might be the most underrated action director, I think, in the world. And he saved, the Pierce Brosnan series with GoldenEye, but he isn't exactly a guy who's known for like deep emotions in his stuff. He's just really good with spectacle and action sequences. And the very beginning of GoldenEye and Casino Royale are so memorable. They set the pace immediately, and they're just like jaw-dropping. I can't believe, like, okay, parkour is a joke now. We all joke about it because of The Office, and ridiculous people who tried parkour and they end up just breaking their ass. But it's still astonishing to watch that sequence.
It is, and it's one of those things where you sit there and go, like, there's no very little CG in this thing. I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, even wires, like aside from Daniel Craig being held up by wires at a couple of moments, you're pretty much just watching this one dude run around doing his parkour stuff, unassisted by anything, and it's, I mean, amazing.
Yeah, and what I noticed about this movie is every single sequence, even the slower ones, completely memorable. I think I've seen this movie maybe 20 times now, and it's just amazing. And the thing that you and I talked about before we went live is that I have trouble with Quantum of Solace, even though it is just continuation. I mean, it's a direct continuation. Like the second Casino Royale ends, you jump right into Quantum of Solace. I remember the opening sequence with the car chase. I remember that crazy warehouse sequence where he's like tied up in the ropes and stuff like that, and he spins around and shoots a guy. I don't remember anything else. I mean, I literally finished it, and I was like, wait, hold on. Did I just watch a movie? I watched a movie, right? It wasn't bad. There's nothing incompetent about it at all. But I think a lot of the problem is the fact they chose Mark Forster as a director, who did well with what's that one, Stranger Than Fiction? Didn't he do that one where?
Yeah, he did that one. I do like Stranger Than Fiction, but I hate Mark Forster. I hate him with a passion because he's responsible for the movie Stay.
Oh, I
had to sit through. It's bad.
But he's not a guy known for action. He's a guy for character stuff. And I think that's the problem is I found myself like, what happened? Like, he overcompensates, I think, in the beginning. Like, the first half hour is non-stop action. And then the rest of it is just slow, plodding.
Well, I hated watching Quantum of Solace because the action sequences are so poorly directed. Like, you're watching, whoever is holding the camera is standing in the middle of an earthquake while all this interesting stuff is happening. Like, the action sequence where they're doing the boat, the motorcycle to the boat chase, I could have, that looks like it probably is the most amazing Bond sequence, maybe not ever, but one of the most, you'd be like, alleged one of the best top runs if you could actually see what was happening.
Well, that's a curse of action movies. They say Bourne Identity actually ruined action movies because Doug Liman shoved the camera in there and shook it around. I say it was actually Saving Private Ryan. I mean, great film, but that opening sequence was shaky cam and felt authentic, but it only worked for that one movie. Then everybody tried to replicate it afterwards. And watch any war movie after Saving Private Ryan, and the camera shakes the entire time. I want to puke.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating. That's part of why I think Quantum of Solace got attacked so heavily is because nothing happens in it, really. It is a pointless film in the sense that if you tried to just sit down and watch it on its own, there's nothing to it because everything about it hinges on the fact that it's all continual plot threads from Casino Royale.
Yeah, it feels like you're spinning your wheels for 3 hours. Every single one of these James Bond movies is so long. And I almost feel like it's arbitrary. Like, oh, well, we got to fill 3 hours. Why? Because that's what the audience expects. Well, do we have enough story? Nah, just fill it. Just fill it. Give them their money's worth. I don't want that.
And I think that's the irony of it is Casino Royale. If you think about it, there's nothing. It's also a pointless movie because all it is Bond is trying to beat a banker out of money.
True.
You sit there and think about it and you go like, we got all these action sequences that are amazing and I love Casino Royale so much, but you're talking about the bloat of these films.
Yeah,
Casino Royale really is
one of the most bloated.
Well, here's what
Thanks,
works.
but
I think
entertaining.
what saves the movie, and no one wants to give him credit, is Mads Mikkelsen is so phenomenal as the villain in this movie that you're willing to sit through like those long sequences. Whereas in the second one, now they start some interesting stuff. He goes, there's this group called Quantum, and there's this massive group that were everywhere. That you can't be stopped. We're further than you think. And that is an interesting idea that seems to just sit there. And I was just like, ugh, he just wasted it. Plus, the villain is so bland. I don't understand. Is there a thing now? Now, I'm touching on dangerous ground right now. But I feel like movies are afraid to cast anybody who isn't white and European as the villain in any movie because they're afraid they'll be accused of, racism. I mean, there's bad people of every single race. And I just feel like it's becoming, all the villains look and act the exact same way. So I'm just like, I can't tell. Like, why is it that they can't?
Well, in a way, this works because Quantum, which then we also learn is also just a subsidiary of Spectre.
Right.
But Quantum seemed to be a bunch of old, rich, white Europeans. And that was a big part of what it was these people had their fingers in everything.
Yeah.
So they were the shadow government of Europe.
To be fair,
And
this
Europe
is closer to real life though, because I think we're all discovering, and some people want to ignore it, we're all discovering in the last couple of years that Russia has basically turned into the real life version of Spectre. Like, they're just in everything everywhere. Do you think it's a little strange that Giuliani kicked the Italian mob out of New York City and said, everything's cleaned up and safe now, and did not a fucking thing about the Russian mob in New York City? That seems odd.
Yeah, I fear my safety of saying anything on the internet, so.
Oh no! Yeah, we're nobodies. They don't give a shit about us. No one's gonna believe us. We're gonna say they're gonna say we're assholes. Hey, you're listening to the James Bond cast. If you're not used to the Russians being the villain, then you're not paying attention to the Bond movies.
Now, one thing I didn't think about with Casino Royale that I realized in watching this.
Yeah.
Casino Royale is the first movie where Bond loses.
Yeah, and then this kind of a theme that goes throughout the four movies is sometimes there's victories, but there's always these little losses too. Skyfall has a massive loss. Even though he technically defeats the villain, there's a huge loss there. And I just think that's more realistic than these, like, ew, I got my one-liner in this crazy setup to kill the bad guy. Yeah. You know what's funny is at the end of Casino Royale, I didn't realize those were miniatures. I feel like a moron for not figuring that out since I'm such a movie-aholic, and I can usually eyeball that stuff. I thought those were really old abandoned buildings that were just like, well, we got to destroy them anyway, so let's just do it. No, they're not. They're miniatures, and I was mind-blown because they look so good.
Well, that's, you would assume, especially with it being a Bond film and it being Martin Campbell, practicality is kind of his thing.
Yeah. You've seen Vertical Limit, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God, so good. I can't believe he did some of that stuff because a lot of it's just on a soundstage. I'm like, did you digitally alter all this? Yeah, in a way. And, it's like a lot of matte shots and stuff like that.
Let's see. For Quantum of Solace, there was, and I guess maybe it's on the DVD. I don't know. I don't have the DVD. But there was an extended ending, at least shot, where Bond actually met with Mr. White, our big villain of the whole thing at that point.
Uh-huh.
Which was supposed to actually set up the third Bond film.
Okay.
What would have been, I don't necessarily know if it would have been Spectre, but would have at least been kind of how we ended Casino Royale, where it's, let's have a chat. And so the idea was, okay, we're going to set up this thing, and they got dropped because, just in case something happened.
Yeah, it did okay. I mean, it didn't do as well as Casino Royale, I don't think. But I think a lot of it was the critical reception was poor, and the audience was just like, well, it's just a typical Bond movie, so it wasn't anything special, and that's what they want to do now. And I think that's why you have fewer Bond movies, because they're really, really careful now. And choosing Sam Mendes is not who I would have thought. I mean, honestly, on the list of people, because they always choose directors from the UK or Australia, or New Zealand maybe, I was just like, yeah, Sam, is your list running short? Do you just not have a lot of choices? And somehow they got it right. He really pulled back. He's not an action director, even though he did do Jarhead, which has action in it, and Road to Perdition. But he made the action sequences really close to home, personal. And the movie's the better for it.
And, well, it's because he's kind of an artsy director, this is, and I will say this, I think Skyfall is of the entire franchise, I think Skyfall is the best Bond film.
It might be.
Kind of
It's definitely my top 5.
Yeah, I think it has all the best elements of the franchise. It works on so many levels, and it does so much. And yeah, it's, I think, truly also the best looking Bond film. Like, it just is a beautiful film to look at.
The best action sequence in it, I think, is the one where he's in the building, the sniper is in the building, and they have all those lights bouncing off, and he's playing a lot with lights and shadow, and it's just like silhouettes. In that one sequence, they're fighting, and you don't really see them, you just see the silhouettes of them. I was like, that is a genius choice. That really pulls it back to the raw essence of an action sequence.
Yeah, because it's light and shadow, and it's just, it's beautiful. I mean, the fight that they have, even when they're fighting with the Komodo dragons and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Beautiful sequence.
And that one they're all really tight too. None of these go on forever. It's really 2 or 3 minute action sequences, and they all go really well. The villain is phenomenal. And there's a scene in the movie, which I don't think would have been in any other Bond movie if it hadn't been controlled by Sam Mendes, is where you basically get introduced to Javier Bardem, where he's like in this vacant, island or something like that. There's all these Russian statues that have collapsed. And I was like, that's a really calm scene, and yet there's so much going on, so much important detail.
Well, it's also just the lead up to him, because he's just walking down a hallway and he's talking a little bit, and it's a long shot, and it's, in a sense, with movies of this type, that's a brave thing to do, because all we're doing is just sitting on a single shot, not very many reactions or anything.
Yeah, I mean, another brilliant choice they made was making him weak. He got shot in the shoulder. Apparently, he got shot twice, because he gets shot in that little construction vehicle as it's turning. He gets shot in the shoulder, but then she apparently shoots him again with a sniper rifle and knocks him off, and he lands in the water. But they only ever mention he gets shot once, so it's kind of weird. But he can't lift his arm properly and aim, so he's lost his marksmanship. He's lowering his level of, you may not be a 007 for very long if you can't fix this. And that was an interesting thing to do, is taking away a lot of his power and his skill.
Well, it's not necessarily that they don't talk about him getting shot twice, because that's how he gets the bullet. Is he pulls the bullet out of himself, and that's how they get the depleted uranium bullet. Only 3 people does this, and it's that guy there.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that it's referenced, but they don't. But it's not like anyone. You're right. No one ever goes, "Yeah, you got shot twice. What the hell?"
Yeah, it's but taking that out, it's kind of like the way they did with Batman. The Dark Knight Rises. They cripple him, they take away everything from him, and he has to rebuild himself. And I thought, that's exactly what you need to do with James Bond. It's also smart that they made it about family. As dysfunctional as they are, as pain in the ass as M is to James Bond, and vice versa, it's about family and just really disrupting everything, taking away their headquarters, hunting her down, and the fact that Javier Bardem was one of them, and that he was betrayed, and he didn't get killed by this hideous... I've never even heard of that. In the movies, they always make cyanide like an ultimate death. Sometimes it doesn't kill you. It just strips your entire insides. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and it's also, like you said, with Javier Bardem being a former agent and his obsession with calling her mother.
Yeah.
That it seems like that he was Bond before Bond.
Yeah, he's a bitter, angry child, and he wants his vengeance on. It's just he's still disgruntled about this.
Oh, one thing I have my notes with Skyfall that I should bring up, because we forgot to mention it in the last show, was all the title sequences from Pierce Brosnan on with the exception of Quantum of Solace, were done by a guy named Daniel Kleinman. And I think that's also his involvement in the title sequences also help a lot more, because as interesting as the title sequences in the previous films are, once we get to the Daniel Craig ones, those are some amazing.
Yeah, they're no longer the cliches of naked women dancing around bullshit. And also the songs. I got really sad when I was listening to Chris Cornell. I was like, son of a bitch. I mean, as a man who's attempted it myself, I understand, but it's just like, you wish people wouldn't take their lives, It's just, but you can't help it. But I just got really sad. But that is one hell, man. That man has some serious lungs. And I couldn't tell you who sings Quantum of Solace. I can't remember.
Oh,
It's a Terrible Song by Jack White and
Oh,
Alicia.
right. That was a huge mistake with Alicia Keys, right?
Yeah, it did not set the tone for me in the right way. I just kind of going, it has lyrics like shoot 'em bang bang and O's are not lyrics.
No,
Saying
la la
O's,
la's, uhs, doobie doobie doobies, scat scat scat. Those are not words. I hate filler bullshit words. But Adele comes
Now,
back, and she
okay.
really just Skyfall is a great song.
Yeah, I'm not a big Adele fan, but this, like with a lot of things with this film, this feels like it's an iconic Bond theme.
Yeah.
It feels like it belongs with Goldfinger and Live and Let Die and a lot of these big well-known songs. It deserves its place in there.
The one thing I could do without Skyfall, it's its only weakness, is, dude, Mission Impossible did this, 12 years or whatever, 15 years earlier, doing the whole, hey, every single spy that's undercover is on this flash drive. They've done it in 12 other movies. Are you fucking kidding me? You couldn't come up with anything else?
Yeah, it's
the Deus Machina
also,
of that, though. It's not the important part, but I just that's okay, whatever.
Well, it's also the biggest problem with Skyfall is also the fact that Silva's plan really requires everything to go off without a hitch and everyone be in the right place at the exact right time.
Yeah, kind of like Loki and the Avengers. I kept thinking about that. I was like, that's kind of familiar.
Yeah, if Bond is 30 seconds late, the train thing is not going to work.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. So the last movie of the four, because we still don't know if the fifth one's ever going to really be made. They might just call it quits. But Skyfall or Spectre isn't bad. It starts off great. It kind of reminded me of Live and Let Die. It has a lot of atmosphere. The opening sequence is amazing. The opening song is amazing. I really enjoyed it. I don't even know who that guy is. Sam. What's the guy's name? Sam.
Yeah, Sam Smith.
Oh, Sam Spade. I was going to say Sam Spade, but that's a detective. And Christoph Waltz is great, and the last half of the movie is really good. It's the first half that I just have trouble with, and it was just kind of slow and plodding. It doesn't get good until he shows down with sorry, I can't talk. The showdown with Dave Bautista, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad. I love Dave Bautista in movies. It's one of those things where I never go, oh yeah, MMA or wrestlers, anything like that. I don't think they're going to be any good, and most of them aren't. But then you get a couple of these guys who show up, and Bautista is so wonderful.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie? I think it's called Bushwick or something like that, where the alt-right takes over a borough of New York City, and he has to help defend it.
I have not, but that sounds interesting.
Fucking rad. Seriously, he just gets up one day, whatever, walks out his front door, and sees his entire neighborhood. Everybody's being mowed down. It's insanity. I mean, they're just nonstop. Everybody's being killed. He doesn't know who these people are, what they're there for. And to ruin it for you a little bit, it's this alt-right group that has decided to take back their government. So they're in D.C. I think Bushwick is in New York, right? They decided they're just going to take over all these liberal cities, whatever, and he has to defend it with his neighbors. And it never stops for a second, and it's really good. The guys who did Cooties, I don't know if you saw that movie, they directed it.
I have not seen Cooties, but I have that on my DVR. Eventually, I'm going to get around to watching.
Yeah, and he's really good, and he's very sensitive, and he's got a lot of heart. Yes, he's the size of a Buick, but it's almost like a side note. It's almost like a deterrent, or not a deterrent, a negative, because he's so big he can't hide very well.
Yeah, well, sometimes you need those big guys to take people out, man. But yeah, I love the fact that if we get continuity in this franchise from this point on, I'm hoping he comes back because they're setting him to be Jaws.
Yeah, I mean, there's not 100% certainty he's killed. He's got the neck that's so thick. I don't know if it'd be broken by that being pulled off. I think he just got pulled off the train. That's it.
Yeah, I sit there and go, no body, no death. So
that's how that rolls.
He'll be back hopefully.
Yeah, and it's they set up him as Blofeld, Christoph Waltz as Blofeld. They take out his eye and make him the true villain, the lead of all this stuff. And that was fun. I don't know. I just feel like it took forever to get going.
It's a bit long. There's a lot of it's also we have the secondary villain who was Andrew Scott playing this guy named Max Denby or something like that. and the second you see him, you know he's a bad guy because he's just a little wormy bastard.
Yeah.
So you're not really surprised by his sudden and inevitable betrayal.
Oh, I forgot to mention the new Q is I really enjoy him. What is it, Ben Middleton or something like that?
So, Ben Wishaw.
Okay, Wishaw, yeah, that's right. There's too many Bens right now. I really enjoy him as Q, and he really captures the spirit of the original Q. And what's the other one? And getting Ray Fiennes, I thought was fantastic. He's really good in this.
Yeah, and we also we get the kind of understand how they name the M's now because his name is Mallory, and he becomes M after Judi Dench dies, and we do learn her name as well. If you actually noticed, in the box that Bond is given at the very end of the film, it actually has her name, which is Olivia Mansfield.
Oh, okay. You know what's funny is we had this theory. I think we were discussing this last episode. We had this theory that James Bond is just a name, and new people are assigned that name. But then, especially because she's in the Pierce Brosnan ones and the Daniel Craig ones in the same role. But what throws it off isn't it in Skyfall where they go to the grave sites? Javier Bardem sees the tombstones of his parents and sees the real last name was Bond, and you're like, wait, hold on, what?
Yeah, because that's where they go in Skyfall is the Bond's, that's what Skyfall is his home, and we do have to pour one out for Albert Finney.
Oh right, yes. All of a sudden recognizable, honestly. I looked at him like, oh wait, that is Albert Finney. I know it by the voice, but not the face, because that beard is so thick.
Yeah, and that was also supposed to be Connery at one point.
No shit, that would have confused things even more.
well, that was part of the reason why they didn't go with it. Was they're going, oh no, that just would get too distracting.
Yeah, it's like so. What is your theory? Is there a guy who just gets assigned the name of James Bond, or are they rebooting all this and they just happen to say, well, Judi Dench just is going to play M again?
I still say it's a code name, but I will sit there and also go, the Daniel Craig films are the reboot of that thing. Okay. The other films are all code name being passed down, but we are just restarting this. We're restarting the cycle in this one.
Yeah, because if you look at the old Bond movies, they were always having the same M and same Moneypenny and same Q, different Bonds. But then you could also argue that the Batman movies, they were played by Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney, but Alfred was always the same. The Commissioner was always the same. But it wasn't different people taking over the Batman role. It was just like, hey, guess what? We have a new face. Ignore it. Just don't even think about it. So, it's really frustrating because I'm never sure about what's going on if it's just a code name.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if every time you did a new Bond, you had a new Bond, you basically did a new origin.
Yeah.
That would help because then you sit there and go, okay, slate is wiped clean. This stuff is maintained hidden.
But then why does he tell everybody, if he's a spy undercover, why does he tell everybody his fucking real name? That makes no sense to me. Unless he wants people to know, oh God, I've heard of James Bond. He doesn't look like James Bond, but I've heard that name before. Oh no. It's a strange choice.
Well, it's probably partial psychological warfare, where it's, as long as he's got his reputation, it's the only people who are going to mess with him are the people that he's after. It's kind of like maybe a warning to anyone out there going, hey, do you want to rob that guy? Well, that dude's James Bond. Stay the fuck away from him.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of it for us. We might do a mini-sode later down the road if the new movie ever comes out, within our lifetime. So thank you for sticking through. What was supposed to, I think, be originally 8 episodes. We've cut it down to 6, I believe. I never keep track of this stuff. But thank you, John, for doing this series with me.
Yes. Hopefully I'm not silly enough to go and decide to do another one of these, watch an entire franchise back to back.
That's insane. Why would we do something like that? I don't know. Maybe like another series that's had reboots and overhauls and other people playing the same thing. I can't imagine that ever happening. Well, I mean, like, what if we attempted Star Trek? That seems like a stupid idea.
Shit, what I walked myself into.
It is the 40th anniversary, so hey, guess what, kids? we're not going to come up with a new name for it. I realize this whole James Bond debacle with turned out there's tons of other people with the name because originally started off as For Your Ears Only, a James podcast or James Bond cast, thinking I'm so original, I'm so clever. No, I'm not at all. And so it just became an issue. So these are just going to be moved over to Video Night. We're just going to do Franchise Frenzy episodes. So we're going to do the Star Trek episodes. We decided, what, four episodes we're going to do?
Yeah, I think that's how it bounced out 3 or 4.
Then we're going to do The Crow, 4 of those, because it's the 25th anniversary of The Crow. And then we're going to spend the rest of the year just doing Kaiju, mixing up some comic book stuff in the middle for Comics on Infinite Earths, which is a show I keep thinking I'm going to cancel because other people keep fucking me over. John, you've been the only consistent one, but I rarely have time to utilize you.
Yeah, I know. It's like I've got books that we've talked about reading. I just have yet to dip into them.
God, in the time that we talked about it 6 weeks ago, I have 2 huge stacks of new comics, and I'm just like, I can't get anybody to get it together. I gave someone Aquaman and Hawkman comics, like old school ones, and to do back in November. November. It is almost March. Yeah.
No, not fair.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So check us out on Video Night on Facebook, Retro Rock Entertainment on Twitter, and that is it for this series. We'll be back. Technically, the minute I get done recording, we're going to start doing the Star Trek episodes, but you don't know that, so whatever. A couple weeks later.
All right. See y'all, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.